Hello everybody, welcome to a Sunday night Aquariums Anonymous live stream. Thank you for joining myself and tonight's guest, who is one of us, by the way. Tonight, if you haven't quite figured out and you are a regular viewer or listener or watcher, you're eventually going to get asked to appear on this live stream because after all, that is exactly what this is all about. It's about sharing our own personal hobbies, not necessarily our big brain or anything like that. This is all about sharing our own experiences and having a good old chat about them. And that's exactly what we're doing tonight. And I must admit, I reached out to tonight's guest when I got very excited after a comment that she left on my recent video about how she was getting inspiration from a local coastline, which is pretty cool coming from a freshwater keeper. So tonight in the chat, hello, Vroomy. Vroomy's just arrived. We've also got Ravencourt and Praddy, of course. How you going, guys? Gills Fish Room and Daniel Witcher. Ross Dingle. We've got Mark from Pondworks. Johanny, Quilly's Reef 13, the Ginger Ninja Quaid, and Senor Ding Dong. You look like you're in the North Pole, Adam. It is bloody freezing here. Thank you for noticing. So let's not... Make sure I haven't lost anyone along the way. I hope I haven't. Did I say Ross Dingle? How you going, Ross? And let's get tonight's guest on. Oh, I can see she's drinking nervously. Hello, tonight's guest. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you are all about?
Hi, everyone. I'm Tania. I live in Yorktown on the York Peninsula of South Australia. I have a problem. I have a very big problem called MTS, otherwise known as multi-tank syndrome. And I'm here for help on Aquariums Anonymous. Thank you for having me.
That's going to be one of the best intros I've heard so far. That's brilliant.
I didn't rehearse it.
So for everyone out there, this is Tan's Aquariums. Is what you would have been seeing in the chat before. Craig Perry, how you going, Craig? Tania, thank you very much for coming on. And like I mentioned before, it was a little bit last minute, but I did get very excited when I saw that you were starting to expand your interest in fish keeping a little bit. Do you want to tell us a bit about your background and what you've been up to so far?
I, many years ago, had a small little box in the wall of the house where we kept a few fish every now and then. And then just didn't have any. And about 3 years ago, something happened and I found myself watching various different YouTube channels and finding myself getting lost in watching aquarium fish in a natural sort of setup in an aquarium with plants, and I enjoyed looking at the professional aquascaping.
Yeah. But
to me, I was more drawn to this is more natural, and all of the fancy ones needed all this upkeep and CO2. And I thought, I'm just going to get a tank. And I did a little bit of research. Just jumping back into it would be stupid, but I was surprised that the fish that I kept like 30 years ago hadn't died. With all the information on the internet and proper care for fish, it just kind of blew me away what sort of information was out there, and it opened a door to different experiences. And so I bought some plants and I went down to my local pet shop, which was not a big box store. It was just a privately owned one. Mm-hmm. I got a fish tank. I got all of the fancy aqua soil and all of that sort of stuff, and spent $1,000 getting bits and pieces and things like that. And I did research some fish, but I left that up to my partner at the time to pick out the fish. So we went down there and he picked out some fish, and I've got the phone out doing a bit of a Google and went, gonna need a bigger tank. So the very next day I went back down there and got a bigger tank, and within a month I had 6 aquariums. I'd picked up some from...
This is just 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I picked up some from Marketplace, second-hand ones. Like, I didn't purchase some big ones until sort of towards the end of October. I got my first big brand new one, like a big 4-foot one.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I had to have a hospital tank. I had to have the quarantine tank. I had to have a plant tank, and, you know, all of those bits and pieces that I saw initially, and then just kind of added to it. And then some fish accidentally bred, so I had to have a different tank to put the fry in. And I got some shrimp, and it became much of a problem, much problem. But
Was
I
your
had
partner,
a lot of fun.
was your partner
Sorry?
was your partner interested in the tanks or the fish, or was it just a sort of
Not initially, no. The tank that I set up predominantly for him to sit next to his desk for a bit of a distraction from shit that was going on in life at the time for him. And I bought some shrimp, some blue dream shrimp and caridina shrimp. And of course, I didn't realise then at the time that, you know, different water parameters and different conditions and all that sort of stuff. But they did well, and then there was some shrimplets, but yeah, it sort of started off for him as in, I don't get it. I don't get why people like it.
Yeah.
And then after seeing it for a while and seeing the other stuff happen, and the Akaras had babies, and we'd be watching TV and find ourselves, look at that little idiot over there. What are they doing? You know, so the fish became a bit of a distraction, and he gets it now. He's not into the caring of stuff that I am, but he does understand the attraction now. You know, sitting watching the fish, and yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's all you want, really. You want a partner that's capable of being supportive, not necessarily engrossed in the hobby, but just supportive or tolerant.
Yeah.
Tolerant is good.
Tolerant.
So, okay, so for perspective, where do you live, and in Australia, and how many tanks do you have, and broadly, what sort of tanks are they before we turn the camera around and go for a tour?
The tanks are varied. There are planted tanks, there are non-planted tanks. The fish are extremely different from your standards to the not so standards. York Peninsula is in the middle of South Australia. It's the foot that comes down in the middle between Spencer Gulf and St Vincent Gulf. And Yorktown is about at the ankle area of the foot or the boat.
Hang on, I'm gonna go on Google Maps while you keep talking about
Google
your
Maps,
tanks, so I can find it,
Okay.
because I got no idea where you live. So just keep giving us a background over what your tanks are generally. Fresh, salt,
Sure.
type of livestock, all that kind of stuff. Just
They're all
generally.
freshwater. They are all freshwater at the moment. I'm going to branch into a saltwater tank. Hence the inspiration the other day when I was there. It was always kind of on my mind, but quite hesitant. And yeah, Yorktown is probably got, go in the middle. Yorktown's probably a town of about maybe 2,000 people, 1,500. Quiet little town.
Oh, there.
Yep. Keep going down, right at the ankle point. I nearly went to point at the screen then. That's not going to help me.
Yorktown.
Yeah. So if you move to the left, down at the bottom, sort of like where the toe would be at the bottom, is Marion Bay, which is a popular holiday spot. People from Adelaide come around, surfing, that sort of thing. And if you scroll up the coastline to where sort of like the toenail would be, keep going up a little bit and around the corner. So the next point there, that is Corny Point. That's where I went the other day. And that kind of blew my mind.
Okay. All right.
Mm.
So you live a long way away from stuff.
I do. I do. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, a bit over 2 years ago, moved from Aldinga Beach, which is just south of Adelaide. And, just things were kind of starting to get a little bit too busy and chaotic, and don't need this sort of stuff at this stage of life. And yeah, just too much traffic and people everywhere. And Aldinga Beach was initially quieter type of suburb now of Adelaide. But then they made an expressway and double lanes, and there was too many people around. And one day it was the straw that broke the camel's back, and started looking elsewhere for somewhere to live and start doing something completely different. So sold up everything at Aldinga and found this place. We looked at a couple of places on the Yorke Peninsula.
Okay.
And we found this place, and it was going to be a little fish shop cafe. So I'd reached out to a couple of the distributors. What would I need to do to have some backing with, getting some fish stock in? I can breed a few fish, but, not enough to sell on a pet shop basis as such.
So just explain, you've got a church building there, which you own.
I do, yes. Yes.
And when you say a fish shop cafe, what specifically do you mean by that?
Where there would be some aquariums set around the edge of the church hall area, and you could sit, have a coffee, watch the fish. You like them, you could buy some. So that's kind of like it was the plan. Not like a full cafe with all the menu and stuff, just a little quiet space to come and sit, like a little retreat, We all know that, well, being a fish keeper is not exactly stress-free, but watching fish is quite relaxing. So, come in, sit quietly, read a book. There's a whole bunch of books, and have a coffee and a cake, and maybe I'll make a lasagna that day, and people can buy lasagna or because it's an older town, and it's the church itself is about 135 years old. So, the comforts of old school, not, you go into a cafe and there's 8 different varieties of coffee that you can get. Like, let's just have a coffee, coffee's a coffee. And, just a couple of things on the menu, toasted sandwich, hot dog, maybe I'd make an old school casserole, you used to have that comfort food from grandma's or something like that. Yeah. And, that was sort of the plan. A few things with the property, we installed solar and batteries, because down here you get a lot of power outages, and that cost more than what we expected, and they didn't want to put the solar panels on the roof without replacing the roof, because the roof was a bit old and it might leak. So things cost a little bit more, so it didn't end up happening, but it's still on the cards. So we're just running through day to day at the moment, really. It's still there in the plan, but it's just taking a bit of a backseat for now.
Okay, that's cool. All right, I've got a question for you before we start our tour of your freshwater aquariums. Is from Senor Ding Dong. Did you get affected by the algal bloom in that coastline?
Very much so, yes. For a good 18 months. And there is still elements of it still happening. Yeah.
So
it's not completely cleared up.
I'm naive. What happened?
I can't remember the scientific name of what it is, but we have had an algal bloom around Spencer Gulf and St. Vincent Gulf, where a lot of the fish were dying, a lot of the plants were dying. It was doing something to the marine life. There's a place called Point Turton, which the stingrays would come up to the steps and they would swim around and, come up to your feet and stuff like that. And, they disappeared, and all of the marine life, there was people going out with their snorkel gear and setting up cameras, and there's dead fish, crabs, all of them. The invertebrates, the crabs and the seahorses were affected, and there was it went completely up, and even around Adelaide and down south of Adelaide were affected by this algal bloom, and dead fish were washing up on the beach, and it's got this brown mucky foam, and it's been quite a problem for a long time. And there's still a little bit of elements. They did think that it would disappear with last winter, but it didn't, and reinvigorated over summer. So it's still floating around a little bit. Somebody I know locally, he goes out in his boat and he does some testing and sends it into PIRSA for the results. And so it has been a really big problem, Senor. Yeah. You couldn't swim. It would make you quite itchy, and it did make people sick as well. So there was lots of restrictions. There are some oyster farms around here. They couldn't sell their product. The professional fishermen were affected. Recreational fishermen couldn't go out fishing because, there was this toxicity in the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Major problem.
Right. Well, it's good on here that it's starting to clear up a little bit. Otherwise, you'd have a very tide pool aquarium in your hands in the not too distant future. Carenia microalgae is what CQ Aquaria has said. Carenia.
That's the one. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
Huge problem around South Australia.
All right. Now, let's talk about something positive. Where do you think we should start with our tour of your obsession? Let's start with what's behind you. That's the easiest way to start.
What's behind me? All right.
As long as he's out and about, I can't quite see at the moment.
Oh, we'll get him out and about. All right. Let me flip this camera around. Excuse me.
So folks out there, we've been doing crash courses, both Tania and myself, technology, and she's got a handle on it by the sounds of it, looks of it. You got that screen imaging going on, Tania?
Screen imaging, I did check beforehand, yes.
Yep.
I'm going to change that to facing back.
Nope. Tania has disappeared. Now, folks, I've got a whole bunch of questions for Tania while she's not here. But if you've got questions about anything that she's got going on, she's a bit nervous tonight. So if you've got any questions about some fish that she's keeping in the tank or some plants that she's got experiences, don't hesitate to pop them down into the chat. Also, if anybody is happening to be in the Victorian area next Friday night, I do believe that Gil will be collecting me from the airport and meeting up with Pratty, and we're going to be visiting the Aquariums Society of Victoria meeting on Friday night. Hello, Tania, you're back. You hit that button, didn't you?
I think I might have hit the the video record button for some reason.
Okay.
So this is my eel and my Tandanus catfish. So there's the Tandanus there in the middle, and
I think you might need to bring the camera slightly back from the tank. It's a little bit blurry.
Okay. Are we there?
The vision has frozen.
Can you hear me, Adam?
I can hear you. Now it's moving slightly.
No, I can't hear you.
There we go. You're a little bit, it's quite a little bit grainy, Tanya, so I don't know, maybe if it's the internet service. I'm just going to remove Tanya for the screen and then put her back in while she's thinking about it. Praddy, thank you for that first question. Yeah, so by the way, if anyone, I'm getting quite excited about meeting a couple of our members who I like to think of as mates, and hopefully that mate will continue next weekend. But if anyone's down in that area or can make it down to Victoria, it'd be great to catch up at that meeting and have a couple of drinks afterwards. Though I've got a feeling, Praddy, that my wife might have booked me in for a very quick trip and a return flight early the next day. Hang on, I think Tanya's back. And the next one, Tanya, there we go. You there, mate? Hello? No. There we go. That's good. Can you hear us?
Yay.
That's good.
I can.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it was the internet. Okay, let's go.
It might have been. It did do a little circle thing, said something went wrong. So just there is the Tandanus catfish.
Yeah.
And behind him is the freshwater eel.
Oh, yeah,
So
of course.
I'll get them all fired up. I have some food here. Hello.
So what do you feed them to get them active?
There he is. So tonight I've got some freshwater prawn. Oops, fell out of my fingers. Various sorts. Sometimes it's like a turtle food. Other times it's yeah, he's just started doing the food. Here it comes. Can you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
So this is Harry Houdini because he can get out.
And I can't believe he's so gentle.
He is very gentle. Oops. Sorry, bud.
And Tanya was telling me earlier that he's only bitten her once, and that was by mistake, typical for eels because they don't have great eyesight. But Tanya, its teeth is not like a moray's teeth where it's sharp and long. They're more small and many.
Yes. More like a little rasp, I want to say.
Yeah.
Come on, Dad.
And what is so? It's a pretty big eel. This is a short fin eel. It's a pretty big eel, isn't it? It's like at least half a metre longer.
He is almost a metre long. This is a 4-foot tank, and he is almost touching either end. But in the next couple of weeks, he's going out into the 8-foot tank. Oh, I'm shaking a bit there on that angle. Sorry, guys. Come on. But he is very cool.
And you were telling me early on that you didn't really intend to get an eel. Like you came across it and you thought, oh yeah, well look, I might give it a crack, but you didn't really think that you would be going to get this kind of individual of this size, and all. It was
No. I initially thought it was smaller. Somebody on Marketplace sold me a small aquarium. He's not really quite interested in that. Somebody sold me a small aquarium and he was talking about his eel, and I said, if you're keen, hit me up and I might be interested. And within about half hour, he'd sent me this little video of his fish in his aquarium. He was getting rid of everything. There was clown loach, there were angels and the tandanus catfish and the eel. So it was quite a number of fish and a bit of hardscape, and I went, I'm not really sure. And so I went round there and went, all right, let's do this. And I was expecting something that was about a foot long.
yeah.
And then I saw this monster and he's very smooth. He's not scaly. He's not slimy. It's just very, very smooth.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit freaky to start with, but I've got quite used to it now, and he's used to me.
Was there a time period where you kind of had to get used to each other and get some trust? Was it like that, or is he just cruisy?
He was kind of okay, but he would come up for the food. I'd have some frozen turtle food. He would come up to it, and I would pull my hand away because I was shit scared. But I eventually just kind of held my hand there, and now I'll put my hand in there and we'll swim through, and even the grandkids have had a little bit of a touch. So he is very quiet, but he and the tandanus are not friends at the moment. But so I've set this up with a whole bunch of my light shit itself today. Of course it did. So I'll just try and see that without the light glare. So this is set up with a bunch of hides, really. There are 2 bumblebee catfish in here, which you never ever see. They're only ever nocturnal, but you see them occasionally when you're moving stuff around. But I spent a good 4 hours with this hardscape setting it up, gluing, putting things in place, and I kid you not, within a half hour it was destroyed, because he's quite strong and he'll poke his head in one corner and twist and turn. And
so that brings me to a question while you're showing us that. The question from CQ Aquaria, more of a statement. That's a lot of kilograms of stone in that tank. How did you set it up to protect the bottom glass?
The hard rocks are sitting on other bits of wood, so the heavy rocks are not actually sitting on the glass. Underneath the glass, I have a foam pad, so that's like distributing the weight. But there's not actually heavy rocks touching the glass at the moment. So it has got moved around a little bit, but because it's heavy, he doesn't seem to push it as much. But when they were smaller, just wedging up against the log on top of this here, unfortunately, there's a whole bunch of glue and stuff that was sitting up there that I had it glued to a rock, and he's just pushed it off. So it'll come down.
Has he ever? What's his name? Sorry, Arthur.
Harry Houdini.
Well, that's okay. I was about to ask because everyone's probably thinking it. Has Harry ended up on the floor?
Apparently, with the previous owner, he got out a number of times, but he's only ever got out here once, and that was probably the first week that he was in this tank, and there was a bit of a gap between the filter inlets, and he got out of there. He was heard on the floor, so like heard the thud, and he was put back in the tank. But he's never got out since, and there have been times where I've forgotten to put the lids back on, but I do have heavy-duty lids on top.
Do you have to weigh them down?
No. Last night at about 2:00, the Tandanus and the eel were having a bit of a disagreement, and I heard the glass bang, and then I heard water splashing on the floor. So I've come out and investigated. Everyone was still okay, but didn't manage to get out. He probably wouldn't be able to lift it, but if I had a bit too much of a gap, he would poke himself out.
Yeah.
But
the reason why CQ Aquaria was asking that was because yesterday he was escaping a 900-litre cichlid tank, and the weight of the stone and the ability for it to fall came with a bunch of pucker factor. I don't know what that means. Pucker factor.
Pucker factor?
Pucker factor mean.
Is that a euphemism or something?
I don't know. Maybe it's. I'm not quite sure where CQ Query is for, but it might be a regional thing. Let us know. Let us know in the chat. By the way, I've started a poll just for shits and giggles about whether or not people in the chat would keep a freshwater eel or not.
He's poking around there. He might come up for a bit of a play.
Oh, apparently it makes his butt pucker. So it makes shit his pants.
Yeah. But people use egg crate and stuff instead to like disperse the weight of the heavy rocks.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Very cool. I must admit, if I was to add to the, maybe I can add. Let me see if I can add to the poll. No surprises. I'm going to tick yes. Very cool. So the Tandanus is going to get rehomed because they're not getting on. Have you ever kept small?
No, he's not going to get rehomed. They're all going to go into other tanks. So no one's leaving the house.
No one leaves the house. That reminds me of Hunt for the Wilder People. It's a really funny movie from New Zealand, and it's No Child Left Behind is the
righto, yeah.
Have you ever tried, just before we move on to the next, hey, there's Grubby in the chat. How you going, Grubs? Have you ever tried keeping much smaller fish with your eel, and like, for example, rainbows or blue eyes? And if so, did it bother trying to hunt them?
Guppies, yes, and now no guppies. But that could also be the Tandanus. I haven't seen him hunt them down. I think he might be a bit slow for that, but if it be opportunistic, like you said, their eyesight's not that great.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were some smaller guppies in amongst the tank, and now they're not.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be the Tandanus, to be honest with you, was when the guppies are asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much 100% sure it was more likely to be the Tandanus.
It'd be interesting to try it with some faster moving fish like rainbow fish or even blue eyes, and just see if they, especially if the Tandanus wasn't in there, because as we talk about, large fish often get lazy. All right, I am going to close the poll, and guess what?
It's a no.
No, it's a yes. 60% of people would keep a freshwater eel. 40% no, and option number 3, which was that they do right now, they're currently keeping, was 0. So you're the only one, Tanya.
I'm a bit unique, but very cool wetback.
Yeah, well, CQ Aquaria, where do you live? Are you in Australia? Because not one would yes, but would keep a smaller species. But from my understanding, there's only 3 species of freshwater eel in Australia, isn't there? Which is the longfin, the shortfin, and the Reinhardts, I think, is it?
And I believe this guy's got a good chance of adding another foot or so to him.
Yeah, Rockhampton. Okay, Rockhampton. So I don't know what smaller eels we've got. I could be wrong.
So I would prefer this over a moray eel because you're not going to lose your fingers.
Yeah. Although, to be honest with you, they can get pretty lazy and chill as well. You can get non-native ones. Yeah, you can get spiny eels and stuff. Absolutely. Okay, Tanya, since we're talking about rainbow fish, do you want to take us to your lovely rainbow fish tank?
Let's go over to these guys.
I'll finish the poll and close that down. Thank you, everybody there. Look at that. God, I love some rainbows. Beautiful. So give us the background on this tank. How long have you had it? How big is it?
This tank is the first big fish tank that I got, but everything got moved and relocated when we left Aldinga Beach to come here. Initially, this had some Acaras in it. So this has been set up with rainbows for about a year now. Mm-hmm. Trying to get rid of that line. I have angled it down, but it's still there.
Are you on your tripod, Tanya, or are you on both?
No, I'm holding it now.
Yeah, okay. So maybe sit down on the chair. That way you'll get rid of the wobbles.
Sorry, guys. I'm coming close. So in here is also some guppies. Because the rainbows are a midwater fish and I only eat in the top half of the tank, I've put different fish in here to complement it into an ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I kid you not, I haven't done maintenance on this tank for a year. I do some top-ups. I have done a bit of water changing, but I don't clean the glass. I don't do any gravel backing. I've trimmed a few leaves and stuff, but this is completely self-sustaining.
Yeah.
For some reason.
It's found its groove.
It has just completely found its stride.
Cool.
So there's some.
You got some good. So you said it's only been going for a year. Did you buy the rainbows as fairly large specimens because they're pretty slow growing?
They are. A couple of them were decent. A couple of them were smaller. Some of the Boesmanis were smaller.
Yeah.
All the Praycocks were smaller.
Yeah. What's the one? Is that a trifasciata you got up in the middle there? Trifasciatas, Goyder Rivers, or
yes, it is.
A few of them.
There's 3. I've got trios of each. Right. There's only 1 crimson spot in here now. There were 3, but there's only 1. So, and also in here.
And you got Boesman trying?
Yep.
What else?
I can't remember what the red guy is. He's only recent.
Incisus or a salmon red?
Salmon red, yeah.
Glossolepsis, yep.
Am I wobbling too much? Trying to see.
No, that's pretty good. You can just hold it still, and that way, and the fish will swim in and out of the screen. That's cool. And how many of the dwarf Praycocks have you got? And you got Lacustris, my favourite, Lacustris.
Yeah, there's 6. There should be 6 in there. Yeah,
where did you buy these rainbows from?
Adelaide. The main one was Seaview Aquariums. It's in Adelaide.
Yep.
That I bought them from, and they were able to sex them okay, but I ended up with 3 male Bozemanis, so I had to go and get some more ladies because there's too many boys in there. So that's why there's more of those. I tried to keep it as just trios, like one male, so that they would flare up. But there's always breeding activity in that area. But I've not actually targeted breeding as yet.
Yeah. Did you find that when you were buying them that you were, because I've been surprised having sort of started to pay attention to rainbow fish again, because I got a bit obsessed with marines for a while, that the price of them had gone up a fair bit.
Yes, it was. It was, I think they were having a special, a trio for $70 or something like that. So, yeah, it's quite expensive. The praycocks, I think, were about $15 each.
Yep. Which is your favourite species of rainbow in the tank?
Nah, I can't do that.
Otherwise,
look,
you're going to be like
I'm starting to get drawn to the salmon because he's starting to really colour up nicely, but probably the turquoise, because both the male and the female throw out some really good colours.
Yeah, and it's a nice contrast with the white belly and that dark line. Do you find that one thing that's really cool about the turquoise is you get that kind of steely colour that sometimes happens in the morning, and then they get that lovely stripe, that salmony stripe going down their forehead. I think it's salmon. And the glossolepsis is like the salmon reds. That's one species that I kind of like them, and they get some amazing salmony colours when they're flashing on and off. But a lot of people don't like them. I think they find, especially the females, are pretty brown.
Yeah, that's the female just above him there.
Yeah.
But she also has some colours and like reflections. Maybe not so much colours, but shines.
Yep. It's very
Morning
cool.
is always the best.
Oh, absolutely. Plant-wise, what have you got going with plants in there?
Bulbitis is doing really well in here. I have some Vallisneria, but this is the only tank where it hasn't gone wild. Some Anubias.
Yep.
Some pretty brown leaves on that Java fern. A couple of different types of Anubias. That one there, I can't remember the name of, but the one on the right is Copperfolia.
Yep. So it's got those crinkles in the leaf.
Yes.
Undulations.
Yes.
And
so
yeah, you're right.
No, you go.
I was going to say, would that one in there be Barterai, the most like Barterai?
Ah, yes, that's the one, Barterai. Yep, that's what it is. And I've got Pothos and Peace Lily out of the top of this tank as well, helping with the nitrates.
Have you ever had any problems? Sometimes rainbows can get some diseases. They're pretty prone to columnaris and also like rainbow tuberculosis or mycobacteria. Have you had any issues with any diseases in them?
I don't think so. The only rainbows I lost a couple. Some of these came online, like shipping.
Yeah.
A couple of the praycocks came from shipping and probably lost 50% of those. So I've restocked since then. I got 10 and I think 3 survived. But that was like after transport. And a couple of the rainbows also. But then I got the rest like myself and transported them myself from Adelaide.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lost the ones that I lost. I think it was just due to stress related. And one of the crimsons was just not doing well for a long time. And then one I just appeared dead. So I'm not really sure, but there was no real obvious signs of any disease with any of them.
All right, I've got some questions for you for the tank. Although we've already answered, Pratty87 did ask what plants you have in the tank. Are there any plants there which you haven't mentioned? You got the you got some Winterloff there, have you?
I do. In the middle there's some Winterloff doing really well. I have broken that down a little bit to spread it out and thin it out.
Yeah.
Just down here is a couple of Amazon swords. What type, I don't know. But they have shrunk back a lot from what they were. They were quite big and sent off a whole bunch of pups. So I've moved them around to a couple of different tanks. But there's some root tabs under there and there's some new leaves growing off them. But I think the bristlenose that are in here have had a little bit of a chomp on some of them.
Well, that might bring us to another question from Pratty, is that what light are you using, and are you using CO2?
No CO2, and it's a standard light that came with the Aqua One tank. So it's a plant light. No, actually, I did upgrade this one. What it's called, I don't know. It doesn't have any markings on it, but yeah, nothing fancy. Well, I say nothing fancy. It probably was $180 at the store, but it's as a glow light, so it's got the reds, blues, and whites in it. Plant light.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just going through the chat to get some more questions. Pratty wants you to aquascape his next tank, by the way.
No worries, I'll give it a go. I don't like manicure, I like natural. So like on the bottom there's snails that turn over the sand, and there's bristle noses in there, and there's probably about 6 coolie loaches that surprise you every now and then with an appearance. But yeah, just to keep stuff moving on the bottom that can get picked up into the filtration.
I love the bulbitis, the African fern, and it's a hard one because it can take a long time to get going. If it gets like blackbeard algae on it, it's a pain in the ass. You've got to cut the leaves off, and it's sort of like, well, it just took ages to grow them. Have you experienced, what's your experience growing the bulbitis?
I have had to be a little bit careful of blackbeard algae a couple of times. I think that was due to me having the light on too high too long. But this one here, the bulbitis on the left-hand side, I've cut that rhizome off a couple of times and put it in different tanks. It keeps growing new leaves, and I guess that's part of, you cut a couple off and it puts more energy into new ones. I can't seem to pull it down. Like it's just, I say a year, but maybe it's closer to 18 months that it's been up and running. And yesterday I grabbed the scraper out to scrape the glass, and I pretty much didn't even need to do that. So it's just totally looks after itself. And I don't mind a little bit of the algae because it's, that's what you're going to see in a creep bed, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. The question here from Gabs, T5 or LED? I think it's LED.
LED.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Is there a rainbow fish? This is a question for me. Is there a rainbow fish that you'd like to add to that? I mean, you got a good number there, but is there a rainbow fish you'd like to add that you haven't got yet?
I wouldn't mind getting a couple more. The checkered rainbow kind of intrigues me. I think I'd like to see a couple of them in there. I think I'm kind of like kind of like where I want it to be. Not too many and not too few. So
you do have is it 5 imposters from a African nation there? They're giving the support for the bulbitis. They
are. I'll toss some food in there, and then they'll all
tell us why in the world there's some fantastic tetras in there.
Yeah, you'll see a couple of little guppies in there. That's just basically keeping fry levels down. But There's our big male Congo.
Yeah. Yeah, there he
I
is.
thought I might have had some subdominant males, but yeah, there's just that one male Congo. But they all get along really, really well. Actually, there's no issues with aggression in this tank at all.
Yeah, I think Congos are fantastic. They're almost, because I kept them before I kept rainbows, and they're almost do the same role as rainbow fish in a way. They've got that aesthetically, they had that iridescence on the side of their body, which is kind of like a lot of rainbows. And they're a similar size fish, and they're a similar activity level.
Yeah. Yep. They just kind of hang out around the plants most of the time. They all come in for feeding.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. Now, do you want to turn your camera around?
Here we go.
Rightio. Bingo. Guess what? It's time for.
That when I'm dealing with much smaller goldfish.
Righto. Uh-oh. What have you done?
Nah. All right. Are we there?
Yeah, there's a bit of
an echo going on.
How's that?
That might be better.
Cool.
Anyone out there?
Just let me know.
There's an echo.
Going on bad.
Oh no. Let's try.
Maybe just
try a different camera.
how's that?
And add myself back. How's that now? No.
That's good for me. Is it any good for you?
Echo.
Still echo.
Echo.
You shouldn't have fiddled around with it.
I know.
I know.
How about I remove you? Because it's not echoing now. Anyone in the chat, can you guys let us know if the echo is coming through on your side as well, or is it just getting an issue for us? There, it's back again. You want to jump out.
Okay.
And then maybe jump back. Like log out.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, that was going to be quick dips, by the way, people. So before we do quick dips, let's have a shout out. Stay there. I'm going over that way to my bookshelf to get my shout out. And let's see.
Tania's.
No, the
echo's.
It's still there?
The echo's experienced by the audience.
Oh dear.
Wonder why
I did it.
Yeah. All I did was change camera angles, nothing else. Settings again. Camera.
Some speaker needs says
Senor Ding Dong.
So I'm just going to practice by taking you from the screen, and I'm going to keep talking. Can you guys tell me if there's an echo now that I've removed Tania's camera? Praddy, tell me if you can hear an echo now. Praddy, can you hear an echo now, mate? Hello, Praddy. Hello, Praddy, my old friend. Okay, no, so there's no echo now. I'll add Tania. Hello, Tania.
Hello.
Hello, Tania.
Any echo?
No echo now. Perfect.
Yay.
Well, in that case, I was about to go and do my shout out. Now I'm confused. We had quick dips and now shout out. So which one are we going to do? Tania, you choose quick dips or shout out?
Shout out.
Righto.
I feel like I can handle that one a bit better.
All right. Well, you're going to go first. Righto, Tania, this is your opportunity to give some highlight to something, someone, some living thing, some not so living thing in the hobby that you think needs attention. What have you got for us?
Needs attention.
Or, you know, need some spotlight.
I think. No, I don't know. I really don't know that one.
What do you mean you don't know?
Spotlighting.
It could be anything. It could be a plant that you think is fantastic. It could be a fish. It could be a product. It could be a person, a retail store. It could be a book. It could be a online.
A shout out as such to people, people as such. This community on Aquariums Anonymous have been very helpful. Various different things and catching up with some of the. I think we need to keep it a little bit simple with stuff these days, and that's why when I come across your YouTube, Adam, DIY ponds and builds and using this to make do, a lot of places highlight the brand new fancies and the latest this and the latest that. A lot of us can't afford that, and to be able to stay a hobbyist and look after your fish in a healthy way, you don't need all of the fancy Chihiros lights. You know, that makes everything better in some sense, but you don't need it. So, I think everyone here has been very helpful with information and been very kind with different things, but as in highlighting, just do your best and look after your fish, like have your fish healthy. Yeah. Rather than planning an aquascape in a fancy way, because then you've got to maintain it and it's, you know.
Yes.
It just becomes about the scape and not the fish.
Well, that's something that I do tend to find, not so much about the scape, but more about technology in the saltwater world. Preach it, Tania, from the Ginger Ninja. Right, you stay there. I'm going to get my little shout out, which is over here. Got my fancy tracky ducks on that you've seen for the first time now. That book.
Oh.
The Cold-Blooded Australians by Gunther Schmider. So this book was written or authored in, what year was it? I'll hold up in a sec. I bought it secondhand. Previous owner, Arthur Ferguson. Gunther Schmider, fantastic photographer. It was written in 1985. And the thing I like about it is that it got me started in the realms of goes region by region. You can tell by those block colours where the chapters go. And what it does, it gives you fish. Hey, there's your checkers.
Oh, there it is.
It gives you fish, reptiles, amphibians from each section. There's the northeast. And as a kid, I was like, you know, there's a bit of the biotope, there's some rainbow fish, a cold grunter from the area, and then it might talk about, there's more fish that it might jump onto. There's a Tandanis catfish, might jump onto some of the reptiles in that area. And for someone that was just really into reptiles, amphibians, and fish, and Australian stuff. This was just like this blew my mind when I was in high school. So I ended up buying this secondhand online. I think it was last year, just to have it because it kind of gives me good old memories. So cold-blooded Australian, Gunther Schmider. He's passed away now, but pretty amazing Australian wildlife photographer. So there you go.
Oh, one of the other YouTube channels, Australian Biotopes, Jason. Some of his footage was just beautiful. Like just being in the creek, in the river, was just quite spectacular. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, Jason. Apparent from what I understand, I'm not going to say Jason said he was friends with Gunther, but he did get mentored a little bit and got some tips and tricks, and ideas and stuff. And so I think in a way Jason would like to sort of, carry on the legacy a little bit with some underwater photography. So that's pretty cool. Guess what? We're going to go straight to, because we've messed it up.
I'm dealing with much smaller goldfish.
Aren't we? Right. Okay. So quick tips is a fast question, fast answer, just to get to know you a little bit more in your hobby. So Tania, number 1, plants or fish?
Fish.
Rainbows or South Americans?
Rainbows.
Will Gill be driving you the rest of the way to next Friday's Victorian Club meeting?
I don't know. I'm still up in arms.
That's not a yes or no. Favorite plant?
I can't grow it, but I love the Echinodorus sword. I would love to have a tank that it comes out the top as a
emergent.
Emergent,
Most frustrating fish you've kept?
Clown loaches.
Oh, we might ask more about that later.
No, I take that back. Barla sharks.
Ah, well, you've got one over there. I saw it. Might go there next. A fish you've never kept but really should have?
Stingray.
Oh, and a fish you have kept but wasn't what you're expecting?
Peacocks. Peacock cichlids.
Oh, very cool. And that was?
When I'm dealing with much smaller goldfish.
Quick tips. There you go. That wasn't that hard. What tank are we going to go to next? What tank are we going to next? We're going to the to your African cichlids, or are we going to go to your Barla shark?
Yeah, we'll go to these guys. So this is a bit of a mixed tank. Sorry, all that movement with my face. Let me turn this around.
I'm going to say, G'day, Gary's arrived. Mr. Bearded Reefer. How you going, buddy? CQ Aquarius says when he was on a collecting trip to the Atherton Tablelands, he's collected some eastern rainbow fish and freshwater crabs. Very cool. Oh, nice cichlids. I saw a couple of small tandanus, but they are no take at that size. Yeah. Wow, there's some beautiful cichlids.
They are beautiful, guys. All of these electric blue acara, they were bred in my care.
So what did you start with one pair, or what did you start?
I had 4 initially, and then they bred. The originals have passed on now. Couple with illness, couple with whatever. But yeah, all of these were born. I say born. They became wrigglers 2 weeks before leaving Aldinga Beach to come to Yorktown. And I had hundreds of fry to try and move. But I had an old, I say old, but there's lots of mulm and lots of bits and pieces on some plants in a different tank. And they survived. It was the first time that I actually managed to raise the fry to adulthood.
Are they
So
good
these are
parents?
all, they are very good parents. Yeah. They are very, very territorial. But we have had eggs in here, but none have made it to fry in this tank since moving here. And that's because there's other predation going on. There's Corydoras in here and bristlenose. And to be frank, I don't want any more babies anyway. But yeah, they've laid eggs a number of times, but they haven't managed to survive.
Excuse my ignorance. Are they mouth brooders or they just protect the nest?
No, they do protect the nest. They're not a mouth brooder.
Okay. Cool.
There is a couple of random peacocks in here. There's a dragon blood and I think they call it an OB. That one just poking through over there. They're the remnants of the peacocks that I've had. I went to a shop one day down south and they had this adult peacock cichlid and he had a busted mouth and it just made me laugh out loud. It reminded me of Strop in the Paul Hogan show with the face, and I just kind of, oh mate, that's so cool. And I was at work and you know what, more do I, don't I? And so I for a little while after moving to Yorktown, I travelled back to Adelaide to work at Flinders for a little bit at the hospital. So I was doing night shift. So on night shift, I'm researching peacock cichlids. And the next day I went and got it. And of course, you can't just get one. You've got to have, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So, I had a few and I got another one that was only a juvenile, the dolphin cichlid, and he would play around in our fingers and say pat, but not really pat, like he'd just hang around. He'd very personable. And he passed away unexpectedly maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. He wasn't sick. There wasn't anything there. Just one day I went out and he was gasping and all pale at the bottom of the tank. So I don't know what happened. He wasn't ill. He just passed away, and it's probably only about 18 months old, so it wasn't age-related either.
Yeah, okay.
But that was heartbreaking because, he was a pal. So, yeah. Anyways, it is what it is. But the frustrating ones have been the barla sharks because I love them, but they always manage to end up on the floor or get something. I had one get stuck behind a filter, so he kind of drowned. And, yeah, so they've been hard. I do have one in here. He's about, 15 centimetres long, and he kind of hangs out up here. But he has a worm that I want the community to help me with.
Okay.
If you can see.
Get rid of that. Is it like an argillus,
the can.
So whereabouts should we?
So the worm is in his bottom.
His bottom. Right. And
I've done salt dips.
I can see a black thing down near his cloaca where his bottom. Is that what you were referring to? Is it half hanging out, half not?
It looks like bloodworms coming out of his bottom.
Oh, like intestinal roundworms or something, hookworm or something like that.
Yeah.
So, have you tried doing a deworming?
Yep. Done 3 or 4 different types of dewormers. I'm just coming interview now. 3 or 4 different types of wormers and different times, but they can be a bit sensitive. So, if you put them in salt too long, they get a bit stressed.
Yeah.
So, but he still eats fine and he's still doing okay. But yeah, it's just these
So,
things there that I can't seem to get rid of.
so Gil has suggested something that I was thinking, which is levamisole. I was thinking Avitrol Plus, which is a combination of levamisole and praziquantel.
Mm-hmm.
Avitrol Plus is a bird wormer.
Oh, okay. Where would I get that from? Like a
Pet store.
Okay.
I don't know the what do you call it? The dose off top of my head, but it's pretty easy to find online. Panicure is sheep dip is what Mark's suggesting.
Yep.
But that's going to be a little bit. Oh, you might be able to find that down in Victoria, in South Australia, because it's kind of a sheep farming area, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah,
But, the trouble is, you'd have a hard time getting a small amount of it. That's the trouble, because usually it comes a big like a litre kind of thing. Fembendazole, that's it. So levamisole is like a pig wormer or a bird wormer. It's in your Avitrol Plus, and fembendazole is what's in the sheep wormer.
Right. Okay.
Ravenclaw suggests you treat the entire tank.
Yeah, done that. Yeah. I've done the entire tank and I've done individual, so it just never seems to go away.
Do you do the follow-up treatments?
Yep.
All right. Well, we're stuffed. We can't help you.
Now, whatever it is, I'm obviously just going to have to try a different style, different type.
I don't know if you can see. I'll share the screen to Google again, and I will. And if anyone in the chat thinks that I'm leading Tania up the wrong pathway, then feel free to say so. But so what can you see the shared screen, Tania?
Not yet. Just give me 1 sec. I've got to try and unmember this. Okay. Yep.
I'm just trying to get rid of Google Maps. So yeah, so that's
okay.
And praziquantel for the treatment of threadworm, roundworm, hookworm, gateworm, tapeworm in caged birds. And that's pretty easy to come by at rural supply stores that do pigeons and poultry and stuff like that, as well as I've even got a feeling that Pet Barn might do it. I'm not 100% certain.
Well, there is an agricultural supply shop in Yorktown, so I'll pop in there and have a look.
And it comes, I'm just realising here, it comes as a liquid versus a tablet, but I imagine it's best to Google the dosage, and they'll give you an indication which is to get. Panicure. And if you do have rural vets down there, so this is how this is the fembendazole sheep drench. But you can see it comes in these large bottles that are meant to go with those drenching guns that they stick down the sheep's gob.
Yeah.
But it's a possible, like I think CQ Aquaria was saying, that if you've got a rural vet that does do large animal stuff, they might have this, then they can give you some.
Give it a try. There's nearest vet's probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours away, like decent sized vet clinic. Yeah, back up in Kadina.
Okay. Ask your vet. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I will follow that up. Thank you everyone for that info.
JM Goldwater says, JM, where to go? I just jumped. There we go. JM Goldwater, first drench for lambs, which is levamisole and praziquantel again. Ivermectin. Isn't ivermectin really dangerous for certain fish? And I've got a feeling that it could be dangerous for fish such as the shark, the bar, like the cyprinids, the silver sharks. I've got a feeling,
Yeah.
Brady, that ivermectin's a bit on the slightly playing with fire side of things.
It's a bit like, I mean, they're not quite as sensitive, but the barla sharks are sensitive like the loaches, like the scaleless things where you've got half the dose of, if you've got it in the tank, you can't do the normal dose because you've got the scaleless fish in there, like your loaches.
Right.
You've got to be careful with that one.
There's a suggestion that you should give the gravel a good vacuum to take out any dislodged worms.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And eggs. Now, everyone's favourite Gil had some knowledge he was going to pass down. He's going to do it very slowly, apparently. If you get Big L levamisole from a stock feed place, Nano Tanks Australia has a good website with pretty good instructions on it for levamisole.
Right.
Which was in that Avatrol Plus.
Excellent.
But other than that, we can't help you.
No. It is helpful at the same time. There's different options that I can try. And
here's something which is interesting, which is true for freshwater, but not for saltwater. So freshwater fish don't drink because their bodies are saltier than the environment, so they naturally absorb water through the gills and across their membranes and stuff. So they're urinating but not drinking, which means if you just put that liquid into the tank, less of it would be absorbed than if you put it in the food.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So, like saltwater fish, for example, do drink because their bodies are less salty than the environment, and they are losing fluids all the time, so they have to drink and then excrete the salt. Anyway, yeah, maybe you can put it in the food. There was someone, who was it, talked about getting, I think it was a Seachem product that you can put in for binding it to the food. Someone said something what it's called. Anyone, if someone remembers what I'm talking about, and if it was you, pop the name of that product. Oh, here we go. Focus. That's it. Focus.
Focus.
I think Focus might be a Seachem product, and it binds things to the food. There we go. Yeah, Senor Ding Dong. Focus.
Thank you, Senor.
Yeah.
So I was just trying. Well, I was just wondering whether the Siamese algae eaters were going to pop out properly for a look. There's the tail of the rainbow shark that kind of hangs out and comes out every now and then, but yeah.
You got the classic dildo-shaped pleco cave there.
I do, and this big boy here has been with me since about a centimetre tall, centimetre long.
Is it a bristle nose or something which
It is. Yeah, no, he's a common bristle nose in there.
Right.
But he's a monster. An absolute monster.
Hey, I think there was a question or / comment on there. Oh, there was two. Praddy asked, do your peacocks pull out the plants?
No, they haven't. They've been very well behaved.
All right. And okay, cool. Dingo Dave says, that scape is clean as. Do you not get any algae?
A little bit. Yeah, I do have a little bit, but I've been a bit more vigilant in turning the lights down a little bit. So, yeah, I did have, for months, I tried to struggle with the balance of this one, and I was having blackbeard algae everywhere in here, and pulled out some plants and scrubbed a few things, and but it's been stable for about 6 months now. So I've finally found the right balance going on.
Maybe
Timing.
maybe you've got that magic South Australian water, pH 8.2.
Yeah, it's better than Victorian water.
Which must be better than New South Wales water, which is definitely better than Queensland water, let's face it.
Yeah. Hard as nails.
Neil says that the Avatrol Plus dosage is 1 tablet per 10 litres of water, aquarium water, I'm assuming Neil's talking about, and then to repeat after 3 days.
Excellent.
Neil, have you heard of any issues, Neil, with it not being absorbed properly? Is there a way that you put it in the food or not necessary? And also, do you think of any toxicities towards silver sharks? Thank you very much. And Gab says that you can always inject whatever you are going to be trying to treat, like if it's a liquid or a suspension, into a cricket, and then see if the barless shark would eat the cricket.
Right, okay.
But Gab's got a thing for... Hey?
Okay. I'm just trying to coax in here. I've got another Tandanus, so I've just popped some food in there, see if it'll come out. Here it comes.
So that's just a stupid joke from Gil. Freaking hell.
Of course. I'll read that later. I can't see it right now.
Oh, okay, so we're feeding the other Tandanus catfish, are we? Oh, it's a big one over on the side.
Yep, here he comes.
How big is he?
About 30 centimetres.
Very cool.
Here's my hand for reference.
Yeah. And was this one of the ones that were purchased with the tank breakdown?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going. Because it started getting a bit too busy in there, so I brought him out into a tank on his own. But when they go into the 8-foot, I'm going to create using epoxy resin, that glue stick that you compound together. So that should probably stop any cave knockovers.
Yep.
That'll all go back out there. We'll have some room.
You could possibly also do, I know that I know Gabs likes to use what was it? Oh, it was the expanding foam stuff, the black pond stuff to stick rocks to glass. And I've also seen aquascapers use some of that black waterproof duct tape on the glass and then use super glue from the hardscape to the tape, so to speak.
Yep. I used
so is he going to stay there, or 8 foot tank?
8 foot. Yeah, 8 foot tank. That's
how are you filtering all these tanks? They're on separate filters.
Yeah. They're all on canister filters. I did pop an internal filter with some filter floss in this one because they do sand sift a lot in here, so you get to pick up a lot of debris.
Yeah.
So I did pop a internal that's just got filter floss in there, but I've got canister filters running on all of them.
And are they fancy canisters or?
No, not fancy. They came from PetSmart. I do have one. I did splash out in the early days and got a Fluval FX. And I've got some Aqua One, but I find that if you do your filter maintenance and change and clean, they do just as good a job as the expensive ones, really, Tanks are clean.
They might just not have the head pressure to push against a slightly clogged.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when it gets a bit clogged up, often it's bits of broken off plant, like you can see just down on here, getting caught on the inlets and that's.
Hey, where are you getting all your aquascaping materials from? You got stacks of rock and timbers and stuff. Are you collecting it or are you buying it?
I did not get some of these round rocks from a creek bed.
Of course not. Yep.
But yeah, the Sirius stone and stuff I did grab from one of the aquascaping shops in Adelaide.
And the timber?
Yes, also. I haven't used any stuff that I've collected. I did, oh no, I tell a lie. I'll be able to show you that shortly. I did get some from a reservoir, so it was already soaking in the water. So I did actually collect some. So that's just thrown into like a total riverbank one that we'll see in a minute. Shrimp tank.
I like your little root system, which is coming down from above there. That's very cool.
Thank you.
I like that.
Just and little shrimp in that one.
They're all blue dreams, are they? Or
yeah, yep. They're not high quality ones. I did have some high quality ones along with some others, but it's not about breeding quality. It's about just enjoying them. You know, you can just sit there and watching their little pick up and eat, and it's just fun to watch.
It's funny. I've never kept freshwater shrimp.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I've never kept like really small aquariums. But that they intrigue me, and I think sometimes I find myself staring at the little twin spot gobies I've got in a smallish tank, and think to myself, maybe I should have. Maybe it draws the eye in to focus on the behaviour a lot more if you've got a smaller tank.
True. Yeah. It kind of does.
Yeah.
I think because you can focus on one thing easily.
Do you find that those guys, they're Neocaridina, aren't they? They like your harder water?
They didn't initially, but yes, they can tolerate it pretty well. I have put a lot of starts with the B, botanicals in the tank initially, and just allowed it to be softer, and then just brought it up, because having stability is the best thing rather than chasing the pH. So once they've got used to it, they were fine. You know, some of them didn't, but as you'll see in one of the others shortly, I noticed it about 3 hours ago that there's a whole batch of new baby shrimplets floating around in there, so clearly doing okay.
What's the floater you got at the top there?
I'm trying to get rid of the duckweed, but that's a mini water lettuce.
And that's legal?
I don't know officially, but I did purchase it off Marketplace. Yeah. And I've been really good at keeping duckweed to just one tank. Right. And this came with duckweed in it, so I'm slowly eradicating it, but that's fine. I can't seem to get rid of the scum on the surface of this tank either.
Is there
on the top and
all in one there, isn't it? So I can't suck anything from the surface.
Yeah. But it's doing okay. I'll put a surface skimmer in there every now and then. Put a bit of paper towel on the top and just take it off.
Do you ever feed the rainbow fish the duckweed? I love it.
That's probably why there isn't any more in there. I did not know that. But I do feed it to the goldfish. So, I don't mind it growing because, something else is going to benefit from it.
Yeah, very cool. What have we got over here? You got so many things. It's crazy.
I told you I have a problem. This is my quarantine tank. This is on my desk where I would sit every now and then. So I kind of look at this one from two directions. So this is, I kind of figure your fish are going to adapt better if they're in a calmer environment. So that is actually my quarantine tank with plants. And there's Harlequin rasboras, and I can't work out what the other ones are. They keep hiding. And a couple of Otocinclus, whatever that black one is down there.
Black Phantom, is it?
Black Phantom, that's the one. So there's
So-
5 of each of these in here.
So when you say quarantine, is this when you get a new fish, you'll pop it in there, observe it for a while, make sure it's fine, and then put it
Yeah.
into a different tank?
Yep.
Right.
If something happens and it needs medicating or whatnot, I'll pop it into a different tank because of the plants and whatever. But I haven't had, well, look, I have had ick, which I've had to treat, but I haven't had ick on fish that I've transported and brought home
Yeah.
due to stress when I've popped them in here. So I think it exists everywhere, but I've had less issues with them coming into a planted tank that sort of like looks nice. But these have been in here past their quarantine time because I just like sitting and looking at them. Nice little nano fish.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
there's some information here from Neil regarding that levamisole that I might just tell you about.
Mm-hmm.
Before I do, I'll tell you what Gil says about the water. South Australian water is proof of what happens when Victorians piss in the river.
Yeah, because they have to over-chlorinate it at all of the stations to get rid of their crap.
Neil says the risk is this is regarding levamisole and praziquantel and avitrol. The risk is when you do not have pure levamisole, then the praziquantel cannot be combined. They're talking about dissolving it with a little bit of alcohol, which is a good way of dissolving powdered or tablet form medications. Then you have to dose them separately. But he says that avitrol is good. I'm assuming that that is not an issue. You can add it to a shot of vodka or just in the, this is the tablet, or just in aquarium water beforehand to dissolve the powder up a bit. Use avitrol as it has prazi and levamisole. The levamisole found in avitrol is pure. So that was the 1 tablet per 10 litre setup.
That's still going to the fact that the fish don't drink the water.
Neil, what do you think about that? The fish aren't drinking the water, so just putting 1 tablet per 10 litres of aquarium water, they're going to be able to absorb it properly if they're not drinking the water? I guess we'll find out what he says shortly.
Sure. Thank you. All right, that's that one.
What's the one in the middle there? You skipped over. You got so many tanks. It's unbelievable.
No, there's nothing in here. This is just a dump tank.
What was it?
Well, I put any fish in here that need some treatment if there's anything, but I'm also just using it for plant growth. So,
Okay.
and
It's a catch-all tank.
if I need to set something up, I've got some biomedia already happening, and there's a couple of shrimp and some snails in there, so it's just got a little bit of livestock in there, but nothing much.
Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. By the way, Neil says, yep, that's what you do. 1 tablet per 10 litres of water. CQ Aquarius says it just costs a lot more to dose the tank because you're using more of it compared to attempting to put it in the food.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Neil. Now, these are not mine because I do not like genetically modified fish. But a good friend of mine, we were in Yorktown, in pet shop in Kadina. We'd travelled down together, and she loved these fish, and she's helped me out a lot. So this is my gift to her. So I've done this up. She bought the fish, and I made up the tank for her.
Oh, nice.
And the 2 have had babies, so there's 4 juvenile in there.
When are they going to get fat? Do they get fat bellies?
Yeah, they're horrible.
Will they get fat bellies too? Will they become balloon?
They should be. I don't know. I don't know if the female have bred with a standard one, but that dual colour one there doesn't seem to have the big belly shape
No.
like the adults do. It looks kind of standard. But yeah, that's her.
What's the plan? You go drain it down and give it to her?
Yeah. I'll catch the fish out and just drain it down to a little bit and put some Glad wrap over or wet paper towel over the plants so they don't dry out. But she's only 10 minutes around the corner, so it'll move fine. It's only little.
Very cool.
And this one was this one's another shrimp tank.
Hey,
It's also a gift.
Can I ask one question? Is that Vallisneria in the background? It's very narrow.
It is. Yep, it is Vallisneria.
It's so
some
narrow.
Vallisneria and Anubias and Bulbitis in there. So I stuck the Anubias to the rocks and the wood.
Yep.
And the tree is obviously stuck to the rocks, but I also created the tree, like sticking a couple of different sticks together.
Yeah.
When I drain it down, I've got a couple of smaller pieces of Anubias, so I'm going to stick to the joins so you can't see the joins.
That's very cool. It's a lovely gift.
Thank you.
Very nice.
This is a gift for her granddaughter when she finishes potty training. Going to take out most of the baby shrimp in here
Yeah.
and put a guppy in there for her.
Yeah, that's fantastic. She'd love that.
So I'll try and move it slowly, but I don't know if we can see them. There's itty bitty shrimplets all over the place in here. Can you see them at all?
Yeah, I can see them up in the leaves. Yep. Oh, yep. I can see them climbing out the back. They're tiny.
Yeah. So, yeah. But obviously, if she has a fish in there, like, you know, a 3-year-old doesn't really get much into, you know, this little stuff. But I think if I take out a lot of them.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised that little curious minds might see that and go, oh, wow, what is that? Might not. What's the plan for a fish choice that you might add to it for her?
I've got some guppies out in the church in a tank there, so put a couple of male guppies in there so they don't breed. Yeah. And that would be a problem, and then she can come back and get a new one.
Yeah, nice.
So plants in here are subwasatine.
Yep.
Java fan, Anubias, and this is the Limnophilia. Doesn't grow very well in the hard water here. It breaks off and keeps floating to the top. So, but in itself, it's the shrimp like climbing all over it. It gets a bit more biofilm over it on the top. Sorry, light.
So it survives when it's floating. It still survives, doesn't die in the hard water.
Yeah. The like it does okay. It doesn't do great. It just does okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the stalks always break and they end up floating up and keep poking down. They float up again.
Hey, if anybody out in the chat has got some suggestions regarding hard water plants, it was something that Tania and I were talking about earlier on. So if you've got some suggestions and experiences with hard water plants that would do well, maybe pop it in the chat because it could be interesting to find out.
Hey, Goofus.
He's cool. He's like a dog.
Yeah.
All right. Now, do I dare say, do you want to turn the phone around or do you want to sit in front? You're still going, are you? You're still going. How many more tanks have you got to show us before I do?
I'll make it quick.
No. We've got hard chat to get to. So I just thought wasn't sure where we're at. Okay, you go for it.
A couple of weeks ago, I was looking after the grandkids and we went up into the Flinders Ranges and pulled out some tadpoles out of the creek. I didn't pull out tadpoles out of the creek. I did not do that. And I brought them back here, and there's a lot of debris that I picked up from the creek area with them.
Sure.
And I've got a pond outside that I pull out some Vallisneria and pop it in there because it's got the algae and stuff. And there's one, don't know if you can see it. Try not to get glare right in the middle. I counted 4 in there today out of about 8.
4 tatties.
Yeah.
I can't
I
see
just
them.
saw it with
That's okay.
But
What are the white curvy things in the middle that look like roots?
that's the Monstera.
Ah, they are roots.
Yep. So this one I do have this one as a lower pH. I buy water from the shop and do a half and half.
Really?
So it's not total rainwater. So it's got lots of because I think I'd just kill off the tadpoles if it was like my straight 8.2 pH water from Yorktown.
So is rainwater a viable thing for you to do where you are, or it just doesn't rain enough?
No, it does rain, but I don't have a rainwater tank. But I have had some buckets underneath the downpipe.
Right.
Bit of bucket. So
just saw a tatty move. Have you thought about using water softeners in some sort of filtration?
Yeah. Is he going to move? He's going to stay.
Yep. Very cool. Do you know what sort of frog it might be?
It could be 1 or 2 different types, and I won't know until they start croaking to identify the difference. Apparently, a common frog and one that's endemic to the area of the Port Germain Gorge.
Okay.
This
and
is also
is the plan to take the froggies back to the location?
Yes. Yeah, I will. Yep. Yep. This is sort of something that my grandkids wanted to see happen, but I couldn't trust their mum to look after it. My daughter has managed to kill some fish in her day, so I'm like, all right, got the tatties and I'll grow them up for you so they can. So I'll take video and send it to them. This is a low-tech bowl. There's shrimp and plants and snails in there, and there's no heater, no filter. I do have an air stone in there because I don't think there's enough plants to create enough oxygen just yet.
How in the world did you plant those plants?
Tweezers. It wasn't too bad when it's not filled up, when it hasn't got a whole bunch of water in there, but
okay. That's really cool. Funnily enough, yeah, sorry, go.
This just does its own thing. Just an all natural.
What's the plant, the grassy plant?
Glossostigma.
The grassy plant's glossostigma.
So yep, I think.
Really? Wow, it's just changed its form. Okay.
And unless it's individual leaf stems. It's not like a cluster like dwarf Sagittaria.
Yeah.
And it's not hair grass. I'm pretty sure the other thing that I bought is glossostigma. So there's some Anubias and Java fern
and do you get algae growing on the inside of the glass that you have to clean?
No. No, I've not had any algae inside here. But what I would do is with tweezers, grab a cloth and just kind of like poke it around the side.
Yeah. Do you think that your water parameters deters the growth of algae at all?
No, I don't think so. And this particular one doesn't get a lot of light in the front door is behind me, so it doesn't get a lot of light in here, and it's just a shared light off of this one.
Okay.
This one's a bit unique. This one also has shrimp in there, but this is I don't do anything to this one either. There's a lot of mold down there, but it actually has live bloodworm growing in there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So I bought some live bloodworm once. This is the tank that I had the fish fry in, and I'd pop some bloodworm in there for them while they were growing and growing out, and the bloodworms have survived. So, but there's lots of snails and lots of mold in there. What I'd like to get is something like a dwarf cichlid, like a histogramma or something like that. I think they would have an absolute ball picking out those bloodworms.
Yeah. And the leaves you got in there look like are they maple leaves or?
Yeah, there was some trees in the park at Kadina that were falling off, and I'd taken them off and I'd wash them and let them dry for about a year before I pop them in every now and then.
Yeah.
And these seed pods, just to make sure they didn't have anything on them.
Do you have you dabbled much with botanicals? Have you ever done like a full-on Blackwater style tank at all?
No, I don't. It's not my favourite. I don't dislike it, but it's not my favourite because I can't see the plants in there. And you kind of like got to look at it hard. Whereas I'll sit in the lounge room and, you know, I've got 6 tanks around me that I'll turn around and look at, whereas you can't do that with a Blackwater aquarium.
But there is something which is alluring, a bit like I was saying before about when you focus in with a small tank, which is something I don't have a lot of exposure to. But when you do have a Blackwater tank, you do tend to sort of get a lot more interested in the little fungi and the little biofilms and bits and pieces that's going on in there. Are we going out to your church?
We are going out to the church. It's my pond.
Fire a pond. How cold's that water right now?
I do have a heater in it, just set at about like on the minimum because I'm a sook and I don't want the fish having an issue.
What's in there?
There's 3 goldfish and some guppies in there. But it was mainly set up because we got little wood lizards that hang around. And bees. Bees love coming here. So I've got the wood coming out of the water. And the
guppies in there in the middle of winter.
It is slightly heated. Just a little bit. If they survive, they survive. If they don't, they don't.
It must be pretty cold down there at the moment. You think they would lose a lot of heat, but that's cool.
No, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Excellent.
But this is like my little nature area. So there's a pond pump in the bottom, comes up through to this watering can.
Yeah.
It's just full of various size rock.
Yeah. Oh, it's a filter.
Yeah, that's my filter.
Very cool. That's excellent idea. I love that. I've never seen a watering can as a filter before.
That's cool.
Hey, there's some, whilst you're taking us on your journey, I'll tell you, I did ask before about different plants that do well with hard water, and there has been the confirmation that Vallisneria obviously does do well. Java fern, as you've found out. Gil suggests Ludwigia.
Oh, okay.
Ludwigias. And the reason, apparently, according to CQ Aquarium, which is great, that Val is a hard water specialist is because it can use the carbonates in hard water as its carbon source as opposed to CO2.
Good to know.
Yeah.
This one here is the 8-foot tank.
Okay, cool.
So this one had the majority of the peacocks in it. And so this has, I'm going to do it slowly, clown loaches. There's 9 of them in here.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Mhm. They're adorable.
Yeah.
And there's a random angel in here because he was getting bullied in with the others. And the goldfish. So this one had South Americans, Africans, Asians, and all sorts of combinations, cold water, hot water. This one here, this guy here, he was this one and this one are
Yeah.
the two fish that started off the problem. So there was 4 goldfish and 4 barley sharks.
Right.
But he's massive. And a couple of days ago, I came out here to feed, and he had the tail end of a bristlenose sticking out of his mouth. Couldn't get it down. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, please don't choke. But yeah, they're massive now. But he managed to get it down.
Okay.
That's because goldfish don't get along with planted aquariums.
Yeah.
This just had, oh, look. Oh, you're in for a real treat. I'm going to try real slow. This is a random pleco that I hardly ever see. I don't know what L number it is. So it's up against the glass. I believe there might be a dead pleco next to it. It looks like a tiger.
Well, I can see the albino one stuck on the glass.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah,
under
yeah.
that, right on the bottom,
Yeah, yeah, can see a stripy one, and there's a grey one next to it.
I think the grey one next to it might be a dead one.
Oh, okay. All right,
It looks a bit.
that's pretty. From a that I'm not a very pleco person.
I'm not either, but that one came with the 6-foot tank that I bought. So that was just in with all of the others. But yeah, hardly ever see that guy.
There you go. Like it's like a coolie loach. It's a surprise.
It is. It's a surprise. But yeah, whatever the heck that is.
Do you have to, because you've got clown loaches in there and an angel, do you need to compromise with the water temperature a little bit?
No.
Like do you heat it up and the goldfish are okay, or what do you do?
Yeah, the goldfish have been fine with a heated tank for a long time. They've just kind of got used to it. You know, it runs at about 25, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I've got them set on 25.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goldie was fine.
You got a lot of heaters going down there, haven't you? I'd imagine in those tanks everywhere.
I also have a solar battery, so that helps at night during the day.
Okay. Oh man.
Turtle, dude.
Oh, cool.
Always hungry.
Yep. So who's this guy?
That's Floyd. I think he's the Macquarie shortneck. I don't know. But he was a rescue, wasn't being looked after, so he came here.
Yeah.
Put some.
How do you go maintaining his water quality in an aquarium?
Canister filter.
Okay. You don't find big turds and stuff, and
Yeah, I do occasionally find big turds in there, but it has a decent flow, and I've got it so that it comes in a circle, so it's pushing up against the back glass and circling around. So there's a bit of poo down the bottom, but I'll just get the siphon and suck up a couple, but for that main reason, with the poop, I put a lot of little pebbles and mid-sized pebbles, and then filled in the gaps with sand. So I was able to build that up. So there's not a lot of gaps where poop and food can get trapped.
Okay, cool. Now the couple of things I'd observed. This is the first tank I've seen that's got tannins in the water from that wood. So what is that piece of wood that's different to the rest of your other tanks?
I don't know. It came from an aquarium shop, and I've been trying to lodge it in a place where it would sit and stay, but he keeps knocking it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one does have a little bit of tannins in it, as does the one where the goldfish are in. That one did leach tannins for a long time from the wood.
Right. And what's the
And behind,
what's the future for this fellow? Will he get do you think he might get a larger tank at some stage, or
he's going to have a pond.
a pond
He's
outside?
going to have a pond. Yeah.
Beautiful.
So he'll have a pond which will be fenced and
Yeah.
have a dirt grass area where he can come up out of the water and sit and. But his shell was really, really soft to begin with, and really quite deficient. He was kept in an algae tank, just swimming all the time, couldn't get out to dry his shell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we need a backhoe for that because the ground is just, 50% big sandstone rocks and the rest of it's dirt. So digging a hole, you'd require a jackhammer here. So
Right.
get the heavy machinery out. And behind that is the tank that I was talking about that I bought with the eel.
The cube.
one tube. Yep.
Yeah. That's busy tank by the looks of it. You got
It
what's
is
in
a
there?
busy tank.
Live
So they're all live bearers in there, apart from a few egg scatterers. There's some Danios in there and a couple of randoms because I pulled down a tank ready for saltwater.
Wow.
So
Look
the
at
leftover
that.
fish went in there. But this is I'm not a guppy fan, but the endler guppies, like some of the different colours that are in here are just. And I've taken out about 50 and taken into a pet shop. So
Yeah. It's
they're just
the other thing that's really impressive about it is that you've got so much movement going on. So it's very flashy.
yeah. So
What's
these
there was a reddish coloured finned fish that went through the middle at some stage. It looked like a Madagascar rainbow, but
this one here.
yeah.
Where's it gone? Where's he gone?
Yeah.
White cloud mountain minnow
Are they? They're so bright though.
with the white stripe and the tips on the fins.
Yeah.
Yep, they're the white cloud mountain minnow.
Wow, they're so good colour. Beautiful.
Yeah. And look at the plants that grow in here. Like this was a catch-all and it's just going nuts. Look at all the fern stuff going.
Is that a lodia? Looks like it might be a lodia.
This plant here is got off marketplace with a bunch of plants. So what it was called, I don't know, but it looks awesome in here.
Yeah.
So this was just all kind of thrown together, and I don't really like ornaments, but
But you thought the guppies might need a home.
I did. I initially, because I was using the canister filters, I threw in about 3 internal filters and the flow was just too much. So I popped that in there and just to add a bit of quiet space for them. But it's since grown in. I kind of, it looks like something like the forest is encroaching on the village or something now. So I don't know.
You need a big bad wolf or something to come through. Hey, you might have a name for your pleco, that one that you hardly ever see, an L333 King Tiger.
Oh, okay.
333. Does that ring a bell?
No, he didn't. I have put it out there, and it was a toss-up between that one and something else, I believe, that they couldn't really identify with the photo that I had. So, yeah, it's kind of random, but so this part of the room, this is all like ready for reno work in here, like the roof and all the sides and whatever. But this
So
is
this
going to
is
be the fish room,
church.
and that was
Is that
what was used to be the vestry,
vestry?
and this is the main church area.
Right.
So
Looks like
under here, there's a Baptist church. That
Yeah.
is a baptismal bath under there.
right.
Um,
So
and,
that's not the turtle pond.
well, it was going to be the cafe kitchen area, but now it's going to be a pond, and I'm going to line it with tiles and put fish in there. I'll take this balustrading stuff off.
Yeah.
That'll be the safety fence around the pond.
Being a grandmother and all. Got to be safe with those grandkids. That's amazing. I'd love to have an indoor pond. How cool is that? I put stingrays in it.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be an ideal spot for a stingray. And final tank is this one.
Beautiful. You've got a pair in there? Are they mated and breeding?
There is a breeding pair in here, yes. There's whatever that is in the back corner.
Okay, you got more. Okay, you got more than just two angels.
Yeah. So there's 3 in here. So that one,
Like
and
a
this
marble.
one. Yeah, they're a breeding pair. They'll often lay eggs in that pipe.
Okay, and the big one on the left-hand side is not part of the equation.
No, he and the one that's in that other tank are the oddballs out.
Right. Okay.
But they're gorgeous.
Yeah. Do you ever raise the offspring?
I've tried. Yeah, I've tried. But I only got a few eggs survive. I put them in methylene blue,
Yeah.
and a few of them hatched out, but they didn't progress. So I haven't seen any more since then.
Yeah.
I haven't really tried. I let it go for a while. And there's Odessa barbs in here. This one's getting a bit old in the tooth. That one was an accidental breeding inside years ago at home.
Odessa barbs are a fish I really like, and they fly under the radar a lot. In fact, when I was at Brizzy last weekend, I was in an aquarium store, and they had a really nice adult Odessa barb in the planted sales tank. And he said that everyone wants to buy it, but when they see the juvenile, if he can get them, he can't get them. But if he can get them and they see the juvenile Odessa barbs, they don't want them. And I said, and he doesn't want to buy them through Aquarium Industries to supply the store. So he's sort of, I said, mate, I'll breed you Odessa barbs and bring them up for you if you want, because they're a beautiful fish. They really are.
Yeah.
And they can handle cold water as well.
Yeah. They're very skittish though, unless you've got them in a big bunch of numbers. So I had about 20 fry, and they all come out and they were all happy, but they're starting to age out now, and they hide underneath that log most of the time.
Hey, I think Pratty's been hanging out with Gil for too long because he's telling bad jokes. He says that no wonder all your tanks are algae free because they're filled with holy water.
Classic dad joke.
That sounds a bit like Gil. Sounds a bit like something Gil would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Very funny. Yeah. So yeah, this is a work in progress, but yeah, that's me. That's my fishes.
That's Tania. All right. Well, we're going to have a little chat about your future interests. But before we do that, we need to get on to hard chat. So, do you want to be somewhere comfortable? Are you comfortable?
Let's do that. As long as we're not going to lose audio, I'll go back in there.
Yeah, okay. And I'll have a look through the chat and just see what's going on with... Gabrielle says she breeds Odessas outside all year round. Beautiful. She's up in Brizzy. And Ross...
Did I lose you? I lost you.
No, you're there. I got you. Can you hear us okay? Nope, she's gone. So who out there, out of interest, is anyone out there? Let me increase the screen while we're waiting for Tania to come back. Yeah, I'm curious that anyone out there is breeding their own fish and trading them in at the aquarium store. I thought I might throw some Odessa out into a pond and just take them up to the store, up to Brizzy or the Gold Coast when I go up there and just, get a coral or get some fish or whatever. Oh, we got feedback again.
And let me change something back.
Yeah, I'll expert. How's that now? No. Still got
Settings, camera.
Talking. Feedback. Red bedspread. Tania.
How's that? Is that better?
No. Feedback.
Still feedback? Let's do it one more again. Goodness me.
I feel like a R2D2. Oh, that's better. What did you do?
That's better?
Yeah.
Oh, look. Last time we had feedback, I went in and clicked audio and got rid of feedback on the mic thing, and that time I brought it back in. So now it's all mirrored funny and all that sort of hoo-ha. So I'll just have to work with the feed backwards for now or I won't touch it again.
I get the impression that's one of your favourite places to sit with Harry Houdini in the background.
No, I like sitting over the other side by where I got to do this backwards thing. That side, but that side.
There's another you might have a 002, not 007, but a 002 tiger pleco.
I heard that one as well before, yes, yeah. So whatever it might be, I only have one. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but yeah, hardly ever see it. But if anyone wants it, they can have it.
But you might be able to pay for your fuel money next Friday with it.
Maybe.
Looks like he might have a bit of extra space in one of his tanks because he just offloaded a whole bunch of albino cherry barbs.
Oh.
I was asking if people breed fish and then offload them to the aquarium store just to sort of swap out of. I really hate the whole store credit thing. I feel like I feel like a bit of crock of shit because I feel like it's getting ripped off a bit. But I think in another sense, if it doesn't take any effort, like you chucked them out in a pond or something and you just scoop out some life bearers or some swords or some barbs or something and it's no stress, then fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Betters, guppies, endlers, corridorus and snails. That's up at Rockhampton, I think CQ was saying he's from. That's cool. All right, now.
I'm going to need top up.
Top up. While Tania's topping up, I'm going to ask Tania the first hard chat question. What challenges have you faced being, as an aquarist, being located in a small South Australian town? What challenges have you faced?
The water has been one of the biggest challenges, but when you run out of something, when you run out of food or you need medication, I'm 2.5 hours. Well, it's an hour and a half to Cadena, which is, and they don't stock a lot of the stuff that you might need, and they don't stock quality food. So it is a trip to Adelaide, which is 2.5 hours. To go and get decent food. Otherwise, it's you order online. But that's getting stuff has been probably the biggest challenge. When I run out of something breaks down, you have to kind of make do, swap things around, and Yeah, you
Is-
can't just run down the shop and get something because your filter broke.
Is Seaview Aquarium in Adelaide the one that you go to?
It's one of them that I go to. Yeah. I've sort of gone there because it's on my way to elsewhere, so it's not out of my way.
um,
No,
right.
no, it is a very, very good store, and they stock some very, very good products, and a lot of my fish have gone there. I've also gone out to some of the northern suburbs, like where Gil takes his fish to Aggie's, and there's a couple of them out there that I've been to, and I've also been to one in Mount Gambier, which is where I got the idea for the baptismal bath as being a pond. They set up an aquarium shop in Mount Barker in the Adelaide Hills in an old mechanics garage. You know, the pits that they used to have in there that they'd go and work in under the cars?
Yeah.
Well, they'd closed that in and tiled it and made it into a pond. And they got fish swimming around in it. So, yeah, that looked way cool. And I went, oh, yeah. Like I'd thought about it and then I saw it and then it was like, yeah. But, yeah, distance to getting anything in an emergency is the problem down here with fish.
Okay.
Freshwater fish.
Thought you might say that. All right. What has been your honest viewpoint? This is in consideration of what you were talking about maybe being inspired by to do in the future, which we're going to get on very shortly. What has been your honest viewpoint or perspective of the saltwater side of the hobby to date?
No offense to the majority of people in the cluster, because everyone's been very helpful and whatnot, but I have found that some of the Facebook pages and websites have been a little bit, I want to say, snobby. You haven't got this and you haven't got that, and you know, there's a beginner asking a question in a Facebook page, and some of the saltwater people are like, you can tell the vibe in the way that they put the writing in the answer, like, well, your tank's too young, you haven't got this. And whilst that might be the case, yeah, they come across as in like, you shouldn't be doing saltwater because you've got no idea. And
yeah,
that's one of the things that's kind of bothered me about it. Asking for help with something, like I dabbled with the saltwater for a while. It'd be nice, and you know, there's different things, but I don't like the fluorescence, and I do like some corals, but because I'm freshwater and plants and whatnot, mine would be the soft ones that move.
yeah.
And yeah, and the easiest fish to get are your classic Nemos, your clowns, but you know, that's boring for me. You know, something. Yeah, I don't want to do what everyone else does.
So would you say that there's a slight, say elitism, but it's like a step above?
Yeah. I think some of the people that, instead of being helpful, they've been a bit put you off. And the other thing is, I've seen very experienced people lose thousands of dollars worth of fish and corals because something went wrong. You know, it could be an expensive hobby. So that was another thing that was putting me off. And now living here, I'm so far away from getting anything.
Yeah.
That was another thing that put me off.
I think that's definitely true. In regards to the price of things, I think if you think about, you know, big stingray breeders, or they've got big pleco collections and that kind of stuff, some of those systems can be worth a lot of money. And if something goes wrong with those, you know, there's a bit of investment one too. Yeah.
Yes.
What plant have you failed at growing, and why, do you think?
I can't remember there's two. There's Limnophila and another one. the more finer, fluffier plants, and it would be because of the hard water. But yeah, I've struggled with those. I also struggle with Monte Carlo to form a carpet. Just doesn't seem to take. I think it could be that I don't have the proper lighting or CO2, but if it doesn't grow, then I don't get it. So, you know, if it doesn't work for me in my environment or my water parameters or my, you know, inexpensive lighting, then I'll get something that does grow. So it's an easy way about it.
So it's funny you say that. There are so many, like I think about, okay, North Americans, and they'll go into setting up an RODI system for their freshwater planted tanks. They'll purify all the water, then they'll remineralize it to a certain level, and then use it for their water changes on their planted tanks.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is that's just fucking too hard. I can't be asked doing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do which suits my lifestyle and my parameters.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I want to say I'm more of a fish keeper. I'm not an aquascaper. I don't need all of the fancies. I want to sit and enjoy my fish. So if I've got to spend an hour trimming and vacuuming and doing all this stuff, I'm going to be put off with it pretty quick. You know, especially with the amount of tanks I end up having with this disease. Yeah. You know, like, it's not that I don't do any maintenance. I do clean glass and I do, you know, gravel back and whatnot. But, you know, there's a couple of my tanks I don't need to touch. You know, I'll clean out the filter every month or so, depending on what tank it is. You have to do the goldfish and the bristlenose tank out there pretty often because they're dirty bastards. But, you know, grab a bucket, drain out some water, rinse out the filters and put some floss in, and there you go.
There you go.
Trying to keep it simple and easy so I can sit back and watch them. That's the whole point of it.
I'm guessing the reality is that if you had, you got 12 tanks or something, do you? I think you said 12. 15. If you've got 15 tanks.
They're not mine.
Well, the gifts, yeah. But if you had that many tanks that were high maintenance ones that you had to remineralize RODI water, and you just wouldn't have that.
That's right. You'd be spending an hour on every tank, so you'd be busy on a tank every day of the week.
Yeah,
you know, rather than enjoying the peace and tranquility of, you know, sitting back and watch them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's my daughter. Hello. She's back. Come over here. You got to go on the internet for a sec. I was telling Tania all about you. This is my daughter. She's back.
Hi, Anna.
Hello.
Hope you enjoy Sydney.
I am loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's where
you are
to be, I feel.
Yes.
Definitely.
Nice.
She's like a mini me.
It is.
All right, go on, go. Get out of here.
Sorry.
Good luck. I hope it goes well for you, Annalise.
Thank you.
She's a good girl. Now, last question. Tania, you've been given a hypothetical. I ask this question of everybody, and I'm going to do it till the day it gets filled up with water. You've been given a hypothetical 8 foot by 4 foot by 2.5 foot tank, which you can make into a display in anything that you want. No budget is budget. Well, budget's not unlimited, but budget unlimited. What would you do with it? And it's all been moved into place for you with large, muscly men.
Oh, large, muscly men.
Yeah.
Can I just settle at the large? Can I just stop at the large, muscly men?
So, what would you do with that tank?
Oh, look, you'd probably have to go the works and jerks just to give it a go. For me, let's put the CO2 on and let's have all of the fancy plants and whatnot and let it go wild. I'd stock it with see, it's got to be a planted tank, so it's not going to be something like stingrays or anything like that. I'd have a lot of rainbows, I reckon.
Rainbows.
I would have Yeah.
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 Who else said,
I'd like,
said that?
yeah. Yeah.
There was one I was
Well,
thinking about. I was thinking about filling it up with lots of smaller fish,
Oh,
like a big group of tiny fish, like barbs, like cherry barbs or something.
yeah.
But then I thought the scale might be too big for that smaller fish. Whereas
Yeah.
rainbow fish, Congo tetras, that kind of size might be a more applicable size.
Yeah. Like you could have, 30 or 40 of, all of these different fish all swimming in and amongst everything. Whereas to fill up the tank of that size with smaller tetras, and there's a really nice, really red, I don't know the name of it, but it might be along the lines of a ruby red tetra. It was about 8 centimeters long, something like that, 8 centimeters long that I saw in a shop.
Right.
But I've never seen them for sale anywhere, and it didn't have a name associated with it because it was a display tank. But I also really like the vibrant red of the rasboras, the chili red rasboras.
Oh, but they're so
that would be,
small.
they are. They would be pointless in a tank like that. Like, 20 of them in that little one would be ideal. But, yeah, it's pointless in there. You want something that's a decent size,
We should
but you
find
could
out
have lots of them in there.
We should find out. Maybe we'll find out when Gil has his inaugural fish room grand opening, which we're all going to attend. And he's got his 12 by 4 by 3 with his trio of silver tip tetras. We'll see what else is in there with.
Well, last I heard, he had about yay much in there doing a water test. He had a bit, like a foot of water in there.
Gil, you're wussing out with a 1 foot water test, mate. You built that thing like a battleship. I'm sure it's just fill the bastard up.
Just fill it up and wait for it to bust the seams or not. You're never going to know unless you go all the way.
It's not going to. He's Gil almost got drowned in it this afternoon. Were you pissed, mate? You were swimming in it. Is there budgie smuggler pictures of it? By the way, Gil, you might be picking up. You might be taking Tania from your place down to Melbourne on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, Adam's dodgy in that I'll drive to Mildura and then drive down, but
yeah,
it's all up in air at this stage.
But so you can sleep the rest of the way. There's less less stress for you.
Oh, look, he couldn't handle the South Australian intelligence.
That's possibly the case. All right, that was Hard Chats.
I didn't mean that, Gil, by the way. It's all funny.
Of course you did. Rightio. Now, we're coming to the tail end, but you want to tell me a little bit about, I'm not sure, I was hoping to maybe bring a little special guest on with us this evening, but I've got a feeling she might still be putting the boob barnacle to bed, so that might not happen. But do you want to tell us a little bit about what you were inspired by?
What happened? Well,
we're seeing lots of green here. What's happened?
Lots of what?
Green in the background.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Nothing moved, I don't think.
No, with your mindset. Your mindset is going in a slightly different direction.
Yeah, so like I said, I've been toying with the saltwater aspect and I've been afraid of taking the leap and watching a few things and, will I or won't I, contemplating like, nah, it's too hard. Nah, I haven't got this, haven't got that. And I watched your video, Adam, the other day when you were talking about substrate and stuff, and that day I had been for a drive and I went up to Corny Point and I'm looking out over the cliffs and I knew that there was a spot nearby where there was an old, which is on the other side. I could source my water from here. There's an old disused boat ramp because I'm you know, I'm 24 now, I'm not 18 anymore. So getting up and down hills are a little bit difficult. So I don't want to be carting, 25 litre buckets up and down hills, because a lot of the coastline around the York Peninsula is quite steep and, 40, 50-foot cliff faces. Not cliff faces, but, rock and rubble that it's not easy to get down into.
Yeah.
So I come across this place and went, oh, I could get water here. And then I went to the other side of the peninsula and I'm hanging around Corny Point, and there was this area where I could walk down onto the beach, and there was another area where I'm sitting up the top looking out over the Gulf, and it's all this wide open water and salt spray coming off the wind and stuff. And I went, look at those rock pools, because I could lose a couple of hours. I'm more of a hills and trees kind of girl, like the greenery and stuff. But when you're talking about the beach, I'm more likely to be poking around in the rock pool than going for a walk on the sand and, having a look at the wildlife from that visual perspective, looking down into a pond of salt water with little critters in there. The shells that are stuck to the rock, like the periwinkles, and you have a closer look and there's a little fish swimming around and little crabs stuck in the wedges of the little gouts waiting for the tide to come back in. And I could lose hours just sitting in there. And I'd sit on the edge of some of them were half decent with my feet in there and just watch them. And I'm seeing all of this and I went, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I am just going to go for it. There's stuff that I can't get from the beach that I will probably get from the beach that would be live rock. I've listened to you talk about the different pathogens that you might introduce into a closed water system in an aquarium. At the same time, I'm a natural person. So if it's the natural sea life that would occur in that area, little bits of the copepods and little water bugs that might be in that, it's all part of the ecosystem, and that's where I go. And in your video, you were talking about that visual, like that very night when you were talking about the bottom of a reef and how it's natural with, you've got the debris and the broken down bits of coral, and that angle where you were just kind of like in that one spot, just looking up, and the bits come up at the side, and I went, yeah, that's it. I'm going to have a pool where it'll be like a little bit in the middle, and it'll be bits of rock coming out to create a cave, and I'd be like looking into it from the side.
So are you talking about a pond or a tank?
No, a tank. In a tank. I say pond, I mean tide pool, pond. Yeah, rock pool. Rock pool. So I'm going to create a rock pool in an aquarium.
That's fantastic. I love the idea. Have you got a tank already in mind, or that you already have, or you're going to buy one, or what are you going to do?
No, I do have a tank. Some of these fish are going to be relocated into different tanks over the next month or so and moved to different areas around the house. And there's a 3-foot tank. It's, like 90 litres. And I figure that's in the sweet spot. It's not too small. It's not too large. Small aquariums are harder to maintain a proper balance. And I figured that would give me enough size and distance. And I'll, got a couple of canister filters that I'll have to tweak around a little bit with different biomedia, and maybe I'll run a different one in line to help keep the nitrates down. But there's bits of seaweed, and I don't know if there's little bits of, we were talking about the other day, that lettuce type macro algae type of lettuce leaf.
Yeah, the ulva, sea lettuce.
Oh, but that's the one, the sea lettuce, yeah. Which marries in with my likes of green, with, plants in my aquariums and the green in the tide pool.
And
And I went, you know what? It's going to happen. I'm doing it. I've got the stuff, and it's going to happen. So somewhere in the next probably 3 weeks, it'll be up and running.
Okay. Beautiful. I think the idea is fascinating to see what someone who is to this generally to this date been a freshwater aquarist, but liking a natural style aquarium, is able to maintain small volume aquariums. Just how someone that is not being caught up in the hype of a modern marine tank will do with just a small-ish setup, and I think it could be really different and really interesting. Like for someone,
I hope so.
For someone to be excited about sea lettuce. Now, I don't mean to say anything bad about sea lettuce, but if you go and talk in the average reef aquarium coral store, sea lettuce is either a pest, a food for fish, or something they stick in their refugium to try and suck out nitrate. And no one thinks it's beautiful. But
I'm weird. I know.
You know what I mean? But I think what it is beautiful.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, I just think it'd be fascinating to see what you come up with.
I hope it. Like I've got it in here, and I want some. I just want it to look natural. I'm not ruling out getting out some corals, but it would have to be a soft one moving, and it won't be a blue light. Like that fluorescent, I'm like, each to their own. The fluorescence doesn't look what I would find if I stuck the goggles on and stuck my head in a tide pool or over the top of a reef. That's not what I'm going to see. And I'm about natural, and I'm not saying that they're not pretty. Some of them very much are, but it's just not what. It just didn't inspire me like just sitting at the Rockpool. I just got really fired up about it.
Are you talking about collecting your own invertebrates? So like some little hermit crabs, some shrimp, some snails? Yep. Not going to, but might. Yep.
I'm not going to. Yeah.
Yep. And maybe so you'll need to learn a bit, because you're going to find that things like sea urchins love to eat macroalgae. If you bring home some rocks that have algae and sponges and things on them already, those rocks are going to be solid, dense rocks, so they're not porous like a dead coral rock is.
It's going to be heavy. Okay.
Well, traditionally, coral reefs, aquariums, there was this amazing breakthrough back in the day, back in probably the 80s, I think, with an Indonesian guy, that the dead rock, the dead skeletons of old coral that the new corals are growing on, is so porous, a bit like lava, or scoria, that it acts as a place for the bacteria to colonize and then hence filter the water. So it's almost like having your filtration system inside the tank.
Yeah.
But rocks from southern Australia, or that aren't made from dead coral, they're made from land-based elements or volcano stuff. They're solid. Yeah. So the bacteria is on the surface, but not inside the rock, because you can't get in there. Yeah. So that's where your normal freshwater, I shouldn't say normal, but your traditional freshwater mindset will work, because you'll go, okay, well, I'll need to make sure I've got a surface area for bacteria to colonize in my filtration media.
Yeah. Would I get the shell grit stand from above the water high tide line, or would I get some or not get some from low tide in the water that's already wet as part of down lower, deeper? Okay. Thank you.
Well, but that depends if you want to be concerned about things that might come with it, which I'm not.
I'm not actually concerned about things that might come with it, because it's not going to be one of those aquariums that it's going to be a problem with people's expensive corals or their fancy fish that might transfer to or something. I'm
Yeah.
going to work within my scope.
Yeah.
In South Australia, we don't have the coral reefs that you have further up in Queensland. You know, it's different. The areas that are around me are the rocks that come down on the cliff that are in amongst it, and you know, there's sea urchin. I don't think I've seen a sea urchin. They're probably around, but you know, there's what we call periwinkles that are on the side of the rocks, and mud crabs in amongst it, and you get little whitebait swimming through in the shallows on the sand. My vision was a beach with, you know, seagrass growing in it.
Yeah.
So you don't. I've never actually ever seen one online. I keep searching for one, like beach type, you know, saltwater aquarium, and I can't actually see what I want. So I'm like, anyway, I'll just put some sand in and I'll put some rocks around and see what goes.
I think the problem with seagrass is that, well, in Australia it's illegal to collect it, and which is kind of nuts. But like, you know, a bit like mangroves, they protect the mangroves and seagrass. They're a nursery for fish. They protect the shoreline, all that great stuff. But the reality is, it gets disturbed by boat anchors and boat propellers every day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's the same in America too. So like places down in Florida, they can't really readily collect seagrass, but they can collect the seed, because it does flower and seed, true plant. Whereas we can't even do that in Australia. Like, because I've thought about growing seagrass. In fact, today when I was with the Great Bearded Reefer up at Mini Water, by the way, at Pratty, I got some of the tube worm stuff for you. I'm going to put it in a plastic bag with some air ziplocked up, and then put it in my checked on tiny bag for the one night, just so I don't have to go through the X-ray machine for you. But there was seagrass up there, and it's a real short one that grows like in the ocean areas. And I thought, I'd love to get some of that. But
yeah, well, with the algal bloom that we had, a lot of the seagrasses were dying off and dying back, and at different times of the year, when some of the seagrasses seed, they disperse the seed and they wash over. So you get a lot of these seed pods on the tide line.
Like a star-shaped seed, are they?
I dare say mine's a little bit different for what I see. Mine looks, I want to say the ones that I've seen look more like an almond in its kernel still, like with the cover.
Yeah.
Bit rounder, and this bit of sea lettuce that I saw had obviously broken off with the waves or an anchor. Yeah. And it was just floating there at the water's edge, so it wasn't a whole plant. I don't know if it'll live, but I'll put it in a tank and see if it will, you know?
Yeah, it'll fix. There's a book that you might find access to. I've got it over here still. I did do a shout out a long time ago on it.
Marine Plants of Australia. Okay, yep.
So I bought this book when I came back from Tassie, and it goes through. Hang on, I'll just put this on the big screen. It goes through all the different types of algae, the brown algae, the red algae, into they're brown, into the green algae. And Tania, this one is really good for, you know how you would talk about that Tasmania trip I did?
Yes. Yeah.
There was all those different macro algae beds.
Yeah.
This is the reason I bought that book, is because it was just full on with all the different types of macro algae.
Okay.
Dead man's fingers. And that's just beautiful. And a lot of it covers like Tasmanian waters. That one down there. It's almost like an ambulia or a limnophila.
It is.
It's a saltwater one. So
That's pretty. And that I've watched that video a couple of times, and that was one of the things that was really intriguing me was all of that seagrass and life that was just floating around. It was really lovely. And so, you know, like I live in an area where, you know, fact of life is we get large great whites, and I would love to just snorkel and I'm almost there. I'm almost there that I will get out there, but I think I'd probably have to go to a scuba shop in Adelaide, like you were talking about, and I think to just get me over the hurdle, I'll have to get one of those shark deterrents, and then I'll just be in there, and I won't be as nervous. I've seen them in close, like, you know, 10 meters of the beach, you know, knee deep in the water, you know.
Yeah.
I love them. I think they're an amazing animal, but I'm not going into their dining room without being protected.
Oh, when you told me you saw one in like standing water, I was pretty shocked. I thought you were going to say they'd be out in the surf zone, not standing water.
No, in shoreline, that you would people were standing on the beach watching it.
Yeah.
Really close.
So, okay, we've got some comments here and some thoughts maybe for you when you're thinking about your rock pool tank. But I will start by saying that a good shark deterrent is gill in budgie smugglers. So I'm not sure if gill is much of a swimmer, but you could always push him out in front of you to deter the sharks if need be.
No, drag him behind. You know, the slowest one should be all right. Slowest one gets caught. I'm just going to plug the battery.
A couple of thoughts. Do you think it's going to be, so you're going to be collecting Tasmania, or not collecting?
Not collecting.
Local South Australian tide rock pool inhabitants, which means the water's going to be pretty cold. How do you feel about managing water temperature during summertime?
Up on the wall, there's a pretty good reverse cycle air conditioner. That'll keep it out.
Oh, do you use that, do you, for your tanks?
Yeah.
Because you get like 40-something degrees, don't you?
Oh, yeah. We have weeks where you might have 5 or 6 days where it's 42, 43, 45, and you know, a couple of 100 Ks up the road, it hit nearly 50. Summers can get really, really bad, and you need the reverse cycle air conditioner happening so basically cool the room in summer.
So in summertime, none of your tanks, do you cool it down below? Because a lot of Americans will talk about using an air conditioner, but they set their aircon for like, what do they say, 74 degrees Fahrenheit? It's like 24 degrees inside the house.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
I'd hate that, to be inside.
Is that too cold for you?
No, too hot.
24's too hot. Yeah.
But inside the house, like, you know, outside, obviously perfectly fine. But if I'm watching TV, I don't want to be in my underwear. Like,
no, we have it set at about 20. It's set to about 20 in summertime. And
then you will
obviously.
So you still have heaters in the tank just to top it up a little bit for those ones.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had an unheated marine tank in a room that was 20 degrees, that it's still going to be a bit warmer than what the ocean temperature might be down there, but it's going to be rock pools which can heat up a bit. I think that'd be fine.
That was one of the other questions I wanted to ask the group is temperature wise for a saltwater aquarium. Don't know that I've actually really heard that in some of the channels that I've looked at. You don't run heaters, do you? Because you're in a more temperate climate. You do?
No, I run heaters, yeah. At the moment, not in summertime. Summertime I don't.
Yeah.
But at the moment.
With me heating or cooling the room, the church area, because the walls are nearly 0.5 metre thick of stone, so it takes a long time for it to heat up. So it doesn't fluctuate temperature hugely, but I still run heaters. So in summertime, it doesn't tend to, even though it's like 40 degrees outside, it's probably about 27, 28 inside. So it's not oppressively hot. In this house, part is Besser brick, and it's not insulated, so you can get radiating heat, a foot out from the wall in summertime. So if you don't have the air conditioner running, I'm not kidding. It's horrendous.
I love how you said that inside the house is 27, 28 degrees Celsius and it's not oppressively hot. Like, I know that's not that hot, but inside the house it is, though.
It is in the house. It is. In the church part, because it's a big space, it doesn't quite feel as bad, Throw a fan on, it's not quite so bad. But in here, it's like an oven. So, air conditioner runs. But obviously the heaters are on thermostat, so they won't kick in summertime if it's, too hot. So, But I wondered whether I needed cooling on a saltwater tank, even though I'm going to cool the room.
Do you shut, in summertime, are your windows and doors shut constantly and the aircon going constantly?
Not constantly, no, but if it's really hot, the doors will be shut to keep it cool. I turn them on before it gets too hot or too cold.
Can you see that? Can you see that comment?
I'd match the water temp to wherever you're taking the animals from. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll take a thermometer down with me and see what the water temp's like. Yeah.
So rock pool critters are pretty tough because they get the low tide, full sun, summertime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that pool can heat up, and then all of a sudden the water comes in and it's all cold water again. So they're pretty tough. But
yeah.
So I reckon if you were sitting around, I wouldn't worry about being too cold. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your water down there must get down to what, 15 degrees in winter, 14.
Possibly.
Must be. And then
at the bottom end of your peninsula, with the tides, it's probably
you're drinking more than I am.
I can't quite mix it. It's like I'm doing all right. Too much talking, not enough drinking. And it's close to open water, so it's not necessarily shallow in the main body of water when the tide comes in. You're going to get a large influx of tidal water from deep. So it wouldn't be freezing cold. It'd be kind of close to the standard water temperature, that not Antarctica, obviously, but, and not tropics, but it won't have, I don't think it would have extreme water changes to what would be skimming around the bottom of Australia.
So in wintertime though, when I was in Tassie in February and it was 15 degrees Celsius in summertime. That's freaking cold.
It is in summer. Yeah, that's offensive.
Yeah. So Rockpool, I reckon if you were trying to get around about between 18 to 21 at the maximum, I reckon it would be okay. So there's a couple of comments back up here. Cold water tanks, because you're talking about a cold water tank effectively. Cold water tanks aren't really very well explored in the hobby. Somewhere up there, someone talked about, there we go. Traditionally, they were acrylic. And the reason they were traditionally acrylic is because acrylic is thicker and a better insulator. And if you've got a chilled body of water in a humid atmosphere, you get sweating down the outside the tank. But you don't have a humid atmosphere.
No. Not at all. There's no humidity.
Yeah, so you won't have a problem with that.
No.
Gil reckons that you should grow oysters so that you can feed them to him. And you're not going to grow corals. So, like, the worst thing you could do is get into the land of going, oh, there's a cool looking coral from the barrier reef. I might try that in my aquarium.
Yeah, no.
But it needs 25 degrees Celsius with calcium and alkalinity and all the rest of it. And you've got rockpool critters from South Australia.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
not going to work. Yeah.
No.
Gabrielle give an idea of what some people do. Even axolotl keepers do this. They freeze water bottles.
Yeah.
If need be. And of course, the other thing you can do, but I don't think you would need to if you've got the aircon, is they can run a chiller.
Yeah, I could run a chiller. But that would take me out of the doing things naturally zone. You know, like, you know, it also means keeping the health of the fish and the critters. But yeah, if I need to run a chiller, then I probably shouldn't have that aquarium life. Like, I'm not going to have an axolotl to run a chiller because, you know, why? Like, it's extra work and extra power. Like, I know we've got batteries and, you know, power outage.
You could say that maybe you shouldn't have a clown loach if you have to run a heater.
True.
So,
okay.
so it's just another temperature control mechanism, except that it's much more expensive to buy and much more expensive to run.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's yeah, they're pretty costly. You know, I'd probably DIY, probably run the outlet hose through an esky of ice water or something like that if it gets really bad.
Evaporative cooling works fantastically in a dry climate.
It does, yeah. Prior to getting the house re-roofed, there was an evaporative air conditioner on top. Worked brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But because of the solar panels, they had to remove the evaporative air conditioner unit. Yeah. And then, you know, obviously got the reverse cycle. But yeah, the evaporatives do work brilliantly.
Yeah. So like a lot of coral.
But when it's 40 odd degrees outside, by the time the water gets down to York Peninsula, it's coming out the tap at 28. You know, like it's really, really hot out the tap.
Yeah, but you're not doing water top offs all the time. What you could do for your water top off is put your tap water into a bucket or a jerry can or whatever, and just sit it in the room. And so if you got your aircon going at 20 or 21, it's going to be kind of around about the same temperature as that anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I recently went to Bunnings and got some connections. Changed the outlet of the sink tap because it was not able to. So I bought a new tap, changed the tap spout to the screw-on adapter. So now I can screw on a garden hose adapter to the end of my kitchen tap spout, and I can adjust the water. So in wintertime, when it's really cold, if I've got to do water top-offs, I'll just hook the garden hose up. Like I'll get the water temperature going and then hook the tap up to the hose.
That's very clever.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Very clever. You don't need to have a fancy plumbing system coming into your fish room, do you, Gil? That's very good. So no, absolutely. There's ways around it, but it's just you know, a little bit of a compromise. You just can't get carried away with any tropical stuff that might be a. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
And the other thing you've got to think about is sometimes things like little anemones that are in the rock pools. Certainly, if there's any. I don't know if there are any corals down there or sea fans or anything. I don't know. But most of that cold water stuff, especially those little anemones, will be things you have to feed. They won't rely upon light.
Yeah. There's got to be an element of I'll need to organise. Is it copepods that need to be fed to something? Yeah. But yeah, I've got to work that out. I've got to work that out. So get some live food to put in the tank for the inhabitants.
I don't even think you need that necessarily. If you're starting with little rockpool shrimp, and if there's little hermit crabs or some little shore crabs, they eat. They're carnivores. Occasionally there is them out. They're generalists, so you can feed them little tiny pieces. You can feed them pellets. You can feed them little pieces of prawn or whatever, but generally pellets. Some will eat algae. So if you start with that sort of crustacean, and then you got some of those nerite snails, those periwinkles, you might find one type of fish or two little fish that you like or whatever. It's just when you start getting into the weird things like the anemones and the upside down jellies and corals that it starts to come a little bit. A little bit
we do get jellies that are around about yay big that look like they've got 4 dots on them. I don't know what they are, but they float around a bit here, but they're more seasonal. But you know, look, it'd be really, really cool if I come across a blue ring octopus somewhere poking around. And I know they only have a short shelf life, but that'd be really cool to have, you know, that sort of thing floating around in the rock pool.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's really exciting, and you're probably gonna learn a shitload. And unfortunately, you might make some mistakes and whatnot, but
So the thing is, I'm going to work within my capabilities and my limits. You know, like I don't have access to a lot of that stuff. I don't have a lot of the knowledge, and I'm going to work within what I got, what I can get. So, you know, if I get some of this sea life from going out fishing, I'm not going to have big fish or whiting or anything like that, but like just that little stuff, and get my head in the gear and not be as afraid. And
there's a little fish. There's a little group of fish. I'm wondering if they're in South. I'm going to share screen, okay? I'm going to share screen. There's a little group of fish called triple fins, which tend to be, there's our panicure, which tend to be a temperate group of fish. And they're a bit like a temperate version of a mandarin fish. There you go, triple fins. And they're little.
Yeah, okay.
Let me choose. So this is, can you see that one there?
I can, yeah.
So this is like the male and females are different in coloration. Males tend to be a bit more pretty.
Yeah.
They live in little groups along the intertidal zones. Sometimes they can go into the tropics. I wonder if it'd be worth investigating this. We won't do it now, Tania, but there you go. Triple fins in New Zealand. So they must be, if they're in New Zealand, they must
kind of a similar latitude, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely. And they're not represented generally in the saltwater hobby because they're more of a temperate fish.
Look at that.
So like it's something that might be interesting for you to have a think about or a research.
That looks cool actually. Yeah.
They're a bit like, they just sort of, and I've got one in my macroalgae tank at the moment, a boy. And he's just, in fact, I've never seen him eat anything I've put in there, but the tank's big enough that he grazes through the algae and does his thing. There's a good picture for you to show where they live. I mean, whatever species they are, but you can see that they're generally an intertidal kind of group of fish.
Okay.
High rock pool, low rock pool, and then into the subtidal zone. Yeah.
Nice.
So
that's a nice little. Yeah, I will actually. That's pretty nice. In the shallows, if you're just sitting in the beach on the white sand, you often see these little tiny bait fish. I don't know what they are, whether they're little mullet. People call them bait fish, but I thought that was just because they were juvenile something or others. But you often see those in the shallow areas where the water is a bit warmer.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in this deep of water on the edge of the tide rather than in 6 foot of water.
Are they like juvenile herring or anchovies or something.
Oh, maybe a mullet or a salmon. Not salmon, but they're possibly a juvenile salmon. Don't think we get sardines down here, but yeah, they're just
go.
full of fish. They're only about this big. I've only ever seen a maximum about this big in about 2 foot of water maximum. They
And
come in
what color are they?
just silver, almost They're not transparent, but you can't see them because they're on the sand. You know, silverfish are cool.
This is what I mean. I was about to say what I also love is that you would never hear a dedicated saltwater keeper say that they like silverfish. And yet freshwater people, it's I don't know, it just doesn't matter. There's texture, there's accent lines in the fins, or there's behavior, and it's like beautiful silverfish, fantastic. Hula fish. Let me bring up hula fish because they're down your way, I'm pretty sure.
You just need to get some more Coke. Not that Coke, this Coke.
Not cocaine. Okay. Hula fish. The ones that occur up our way are these ones, the eastern hula fish. They come from southeast Queensland down to Victoria, I think. The ones I saw in Tasmania were these ones. That's a terrible photo. Cauda maculatus. Is that it? Southern hula fish. Yep. That one was the one down Tassie. And I'm going to check and see if that's in Adel in Victoria. Let's have a look. I don't know if you can see the screen, can you? They are. Look at that. Look at that.
The finish.
So
that's
now,
pretty fish.
There you go. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, so I can't zoom in, Tanya, but this is a southern. Okay. I saw this guy out in Tasmania. He's down there. He's also definitely in where you are in those Gulf areas there, because I can see it in the blue. And when you go into the pictures, they're a beautiful little fish, and they hang out in groups. They get these nice trailing little filament, nice blue. They're subtle, but they're really pretty.
There's little reflections off of plain silverfish, you know, and the activity, and you know, this one here has, you know, that attractive finish that, you know, it's just pretty. Yeah.
That one you're not going to find where you are, but if you were to take a holiday to Perth, you might.
Yeah.
But they're that one is the. Oh, and you got this one too, which I thought was going to be a New Zealand one. This one's even cooler. It's got a yellow face to it.
Still on that one. I can't see that one that you're showing.
You can't see that?
No.
Oh.
You're still on the Tasmanian one with the fins. It's me again.
Back to you. Hang on. I'm going to show you this one because it's really worth investigating if you can do it for anybody out there. Hula fish, Norlung, share. Can you see that?
Oh, nice. Oh, that's a schooling fish. That's cute.
See, big groups.
That's nice.
Look at the fins on the back of that guy. How cool is that?
Look at the reflection. That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What's that one called?
So it's a yellowhead hula fish.
Yellowhead hula fish, right. Yeah.
So go on Fishes of Australia and look up. It's in the same family as the blue devils, those fish that are protected around the coastlines. Oh, you might not. Anyway, look up hula fish. Hula, like a hula dance.
Yep. I haven't. Yeah. I don't really know a lot of the names of the salts. Like even the freshwater aquarium. I know a few, obviously, but when you're talking, you know, with your fellow saltwater enthusiasts and your name's dropping, I'm like, what's that? Which one? Which what? You know, like no idea. Like I haven't even researched them or looked them up. When you were away on holidays, there was a cluster of fish that were over a little bit of a bomby of different stuff, and like the way that they all group together. But you said that they can sometimes turn on each other, so that's probably not something that I'd have in my small zone. So little smaller, little different things. But you know, they weren't, you know, the multicolored, you know, fox faces and the different butterflies, and you know, and then there's the fish that, you know, are very colourful this big that end up this big. So I wouldn't know what I was catching unless I researched it. So I'm going to start simple with what I know in the rock pools and stuff. And you know
what you got to do? You got to get over you got to get some advice locally. Get over that little bit of fear. Try and find a safe space to do it with your face mask on, and then just have a little bit of a real protected area where it's pretty safe. Just start observing, and a lot of those intertidal fish, like those triple fins, at first you won't even see them. You'll see all the algae and you'll see the snails and the bits and pieces on the sides. You won't see them. And if you just stay there long enough, all of a sudden you see a little bit of movement that just comes from the side. And
you mentioned before about training your eye.
Yeah.
When you're diving and looking around, suddenly your eye gets in tune and you see them everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something, it might be like you get a bit of sunlight come through and you get that bit of red and black contrast and you go, oh, bing, there it is. There's another one. There's another one. Or it might be a movement. They might dart across from one spot to the next. Yeah. But I think if you start doing that, you'll get a handle on what are the local fish. I guarantee you that you'll go, what is that fish? You'll go home and you'll start researching fishes of Australia, and you'd be like scrolling through endless fish or asking us or whatever. And that's how you'll start to learn, by observing. And that's the best way to do it. And most people don't do it. They don't get outside in nature. So that's brilliant. Love it.
Yeah. Well, I haven't really done a lot of it. Like, I know I live in a pretty spectacular coastline, but I, been working and doing all of that stuff, and, life gets in the way, and, oh, shit, I better do some washing today, or weather's shit, can't be bothered, watch Netflix, that sort of stuff. But when I did that the other day, I'm like, it's right there on my doorstep, and I haven't looked enough. And it just really, it made me feel better inside, like being out there amongst it and having a look at it. And I'd like to bring that inside into an aquarium that, when I can't get out there and amongst it. So I've made a pact to myself that I'm going to go to a different spot once every week and just have a poke around and have a little find. And
that's nice.
Embrace the salt.
I think what you said just then is exactly the way it is that you bring a bit of that home to you, so that when you can't go out there, you can see it. And then in seeing it, it makes you want to go back out there next weekend to go and have another look.
Yeah.
Like, it really is cool. And there's a comment here from Vroomy, from Matt, that is something I didn't think of, but I reckon you'd love this fish. Have a read of that.
Huge flat. I can't quite got the wrong glasses on for that small.
We have this awesome huge flat rock down in the southwest. It's covered in barnacles. If you sit long enough, all these blennies start popping their heads out.
All right.
So a blenny is a fish.
Can they be nasty to other fish, blennies? Or is it different types of blennies can be nasty?
I guess it's possible. They can be a bit, no, they're not too bad. They can be a bit bickery with each other sometimes, but no, not really. But if you think about a fish that looks, share screen. There's a Tasmanian horned blenny, and I'm pretty sure you'd find it where you are. Maybe it could be wrong. I reckon it'd be the perfect fish for you. Blennies are usually, there you go, classic. Look at that. So that's what these things do.
Okay.
They stick their heads out of barnacles and holes, and old things in the rock work.
Yeah.
And they got that. They look like a muppet.
Does.
They're often intertidal. These sorts are the horn blennies because they graze algae. They got those lips that are used for kissing the film algae off the glass.
Look at that.
There are plenty of other blennies that from the tropics, from the coral reef that aren't quite so.
There's one that you often see in the YouTube channels. There's the blenny with the pistol shrimp that live in the same hog.
That's a shrimp goby.
Oh, okay, goby. Yep, okay.
Yeah, so a shrimp goby, you've got some like this, which are a bit more delicate. The classic would be that style, which is a watchman goby. There's his shrimp. And yeah, so they're similar. They like that goby looks similar to a blenny, but they've got a different lifestyle. Blennies seem to be a lot more adherent to structure, to rock work.
Yeah.
Whereas gobies will often be associated with, not always, there are some associated with coral, but often they're associated with the substrate. They might sift the substrate, or they might live down burrows that are formed by a shrimp.
That might be where I thought of it. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
But
switching between fresh and salt.
But yeah, that's something that I reckon you'd find down there too. Go on Fishers of Australia. I reckon it'd be really interesting.
Yeah. First step, I'll go to the dive shop, grab a shark deterrent, and I'm going to get in there. You just got to do it. And like you said,
ask where they know of a safe or a safe space to go and do it for someone that's new.
Yeah. A lot of the areas around here, we got quite a large swell as well. So, I'd have to be aware of an undertow and current and whatnot. Otherwise, I'll end up, up at Port Augusta or Port Lincoln or something.
But I'm talking about just sticking around the deep rock pools, just floating in a giant rock pool the size of your car, if there's any of those down there.
I did see something kind of satellite, Google Maps satellite that I might go and poke it. I reckon that might be on my list in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
So I just thought I'd show you this and anybody out there, because I love this website. The easiest way to do this is to go. You can search for something that you think if you might know it, like a snapper or a clingfish or whatever. But if you don't know it, obviously you can't search. So
that's Fish of Australia.
Yeah. You go to browse classification, and then that brings you these. Is my cursor moving at the moment?
Yep.
Yeah. So generally, you're always going to go into this one here, which is ray-finned fish, because the others are things like lampreys and sharks. So you go into that, ray-finned, and then that gives you a whole list of families. And so if you think you might know what you are looking at, you can go into the common name, like mullet, for example. There it is there. But if you don't quite know, you can write this one down, Tania. Go into this one here, which is called perciforms. And a perciform fish is the majority of fish that we have in our hobby, other than pufferfish, triggerfish, seahorses, that kind of thing.
Pufferfish are cute.
They are. But so the perciform gives you a whole list of families of fish that are really common in our hobby. Surgeonfish. What else we got? Cardinal fish. All of them. All those foxface, the butterfly fish, the angelfish. They're all perciform fish. And then look, there's blennies. So we can go on to Blender Day. There was a common name there that was blennies underneath it, so you can see that. Now, this is where it gets confusing, and I suggest not looking through the list of genus. I suggest going straight to the photos. Click on the first photo, and then there's a little, when you go to the side, there's the arrow, and you can just start scrolling through and until you find, like, they have a lot of photos, hundreds of them.
That's
So-
a really good learning tool to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, these are saber-tooth blennies, these ones. And you just keep on going through. If you've got no idea what this blenny is that you saw, you know, you saw it had like a frog-like mouth that kisses algae in the rock pools, but what is it? It's a blenny, but what sort is it? So you start going through, and then the next thing I suggest doing is looking down at the description as to where it was located. If it's in the Solomon Islands like this, it's not going to be in South Australia.
Yeah. Yep.
So you just keep on going. Once you get your handle into it, you can start to get yourself a bit more directed. So we were looking at, I think, Parablenius before, intermedius. There it is there, which is the horn blenny. There we go. That one there is the false. So it's from Queensland. There must be one that is based in Tasmania, Tasmaniensis. Oh, look, there it is located. Now, I can't enlarge.
And it's highlighted on the map.
I can't enlarge the map for some reason, but it's down there right where you are.
Excellent.
So that's the Tasmanian horn blenny. So then you can go into photos here and you can start to look through the photos and get it. And then again, you can see in the description, this was tucking at Western Port Victoria. This one was taken at Port Hughes Jetty in South Australia, if you know where that is.
That's just up from me. That's about an hour away.
There you go.
An hour and a half to Port Hughes. Yeah.
That one's living in an old beer can. So anyway, that's a really good resource that can be very confusing at starting in the ray fin fish. And then all I'm saying is once you're at the Actinoptera, if it's not an eel, it's not a lionfish, it's not a puffer fish, it's not a triggerfish, like those weird looking things, chances are it's going to be in the perches, which is perciforms.
Cool. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
So
that would be great.
It's such a good website. I'm on there almost every week, pretty much going on there.
I'm usually up to the wee hours of the morning, so I'll probably be on there for the next 4 hours having a look through.
Yeah. Well, there you got triple fins, you got blennies, and you've got hula fish.
Yeah.
How's that?
In my zone.
CQ Aquarius says the Google Lens. I don't know Google Lens. Google Lens is your friend if you have a picture and want to know what it is. That's how he tells.
You know what? I accidentally pressed on something when I went to the supermarket the other day, and suddenly Google Lenses popped up in front of me, and I'm like backing the hell out. Like, what? What have I allowed access to? Like, bugger off. But yeah, when I click on Google thingy, Google Lens comes up now. So I think it's where you tap on Google Lens, you look at something, and it'll identify it for you. Into what it is.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Well, sorry, I've got a daughter here at the second. You're going to bed, are you done?
Yes, I love you. Good night. Okay.
All right.
Night, Alex.
Good night. Have fun with your live stream.
Thank you.
Gil wants to know.
Taking up your time.
Does the Tasmanian want to have two heads? Don't know. And it looks like Quade, who sent me a picture of a redfish, has been enlisting Pratty to find the identification. After I told Quade, the Ginger Ninja, to go on Fishes of Australia, we found out it was going to be a trimmer or an Evioto goby, and he still can't sit there and wade through it. He wants Pratty to do his dirty work for him.
Because Nick's always on there, like looking up something and found it and knows the scientific nature of all these corals. This is what's that.
There's a good suggestion here from Quilly as well, iNaturalist. Look up South Australia. It's a website and you can identify your region, and then that'll only show you animals that are found in that area.
All right, naturalist. Noted. Thank you, Quilly.
Beautiful. Right. Now, we're getting on. By the way, people, we're going to be ending up pretty soon. So if you've got any other further questions or comments or suggestions or encouragement for Tania, please put it down in the comments now. So for the time being, what we've got now is
white milk. White.
Tania. A previous guest has left a question for you without knowing who you might be.
Mm.
And that question is, what is the best and the worst piece of advice you've been given regarding to your aquarium keeping? So we'll start with the best or the worst, whichever you prefer.
The best is do your research, but when you link up with somebody that you feel comfortable with, don't get bits of initially get bits of advice from everywhere, but listen to somebody consistently that you have an affiliation with, like you understand what they're saying, how they say it, and they're giving good advice. But yeah, doing the research, but you find somebody that you have an affinity with, or whatever the proper word is. I did know it, but South Australian.
That's good. So you talk about having a mentor by the sounds of it.
Yeah, that somebody, there's various different channels that promote the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the knowledgeable, and then there's people that talk normally without. I was on one last night, and you've often mentioned BRS. The couple of them that I listened to last night, they were dropping terminology everywhere. And as a beginner, that terminology became a bit intimidating. So rather than speaking normally, like, an educational YouTuber that explains rather than just throws out the flashy. So yeah, somebody that you connect with that's giving good advice is beneficial to your fish keeping. If you follow the flashies and they've got all these big flash aquarium tanks, you're going to fail because you're not going to achieve those because you don't have the knowledge yet. So yeah, and stick in your lane. What you know, and work with what you've got. Work with what you've got has probably been the best advice.
Well, you're a great example of that, and you've got some great success going on there. So
thank you.
What is the worst piece of advice that you've been given in aquarium keeping? They just love putting people on the spot.
I know, you watch it every week and you see these people answering these questions. You know it's coming up, but then when it's there, it's like, what? Why don't you put this with that? And you know damn well that they don't work together. And goldfish, they only grow as big as the aquarium that they're put in.
So you've had some bad aquarium stories, have you?
Yeah. Like if you just put them in there, it'll be fine. And it's like, well, no, because they've got different personalities. But initially didn't know that. So it wasn't good. Yeah, they'll be fine. And that's because you go to an aquarium shop and as a beginner trying to get into the hobby and you see these things, and I didn't initially, I thought I was doing the right thing, but I didn't, because I put all my fish in with my shrimp. Of course they ate them all, didn't they? Like, yeah, they'll be fine. There's $200 worth of shrimp going down the drain. Like, thanks very much.
Sometimes those lessons are hard learned, aren't they? I wonder sometimes.
It was, yeah. Never mind. Live and learn, and that's all part of it, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You experience it, and you work out like that doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I've got one last question here from Pratty. He likes to throw the question in at the last minute. And it isn't, are you going to be drinking vodka with us next Friday night after the meeting? Although that question could be valid.
Not vodka, maybe gin or ouzo, but not vodka.
Ouzo. I was about to say maybe ouzo.
They're violent on vodka.
What's a fish that you really want to keep but haven't yet?
Look, I'd love to have stuff to keep a stingray. Like we said before, like in that big baptismal bath, if there was a stingray in there, I reckon that'd be pretty cool. Because there's enough room. It could go up the side. That baptismal bath is probably 4 foot deep, at least.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really deep, and it has steps up the side. So, you know, you could have a lot of space because, like, you see a lot of stingrays and they haven't got a lot of room to move. So and they're one of those things that you would look down on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I reckon that'd be pretty cool in there.
So freshwater stingray?
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I love stingrays.
Look,
you're right.
Sorry, you go.
I was going to say they are the perfect look down fish.
Yeah, because it's definitely not a side-on sort of aspect. So it'd be something that you'd look on into. Oh, maybe it could be a saltwater rock pool. Okay.
That's excellent. Now, so for everybody, thank you, Tania. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
I don't think we've got any other comments or questions here, but to everybody out there, anyone who's here all the time is going to be in Tania's position at some stage. Isn't that right? So
it is. You get hit up eventually.
You get hit up
eventually. It's been brilliant. So thank you very much.
It's exciting seeing what other people's experiences are and what they find joy in their own homes. Like your eel, I would never have thought you'd have that eel behind you, and I'm like going, "That's fantastic! I love that." So
yeah, it's pretty cool and a bit different, isn't it? Yeah.
Now there was a comment from regarding next Friday. So for everybody out there, I was invited by Praddy and Gil. That's his name, Gil, to go to the Aquariums Society of Victoria meeting next Friday the 31st in Melbourne, and my wife was very kind to pull out some frequent flyer points or whatever and get a free flight down with Qantas or whatever it is. So Gil, if you're out there still, you're picking me up from the airport. I'm pretty sure the motel room is still booked for us. That's right. I get to see Gil and his budgie smugglers. Praddy's got another room by himself. So there's plenty of room there, Tania. But Tania, there was a mention. Remember we talked about you driving to Gil's place?
Yeah.
Something up here. Do you have Gil's contact details?
No, I don't. No.
I'll send them to you. Gil, I'm sending them to Tania. Because he said something about he can pick you up in Adelaide on Thursday evening.
All right. Okay.
So I'm assuming that means maybe
he's heading over earlier.
Maybe he's going to have his trucker hat on, you know, doing the beep.
Don't be doing that, Adam.
Well, like the trucker hat, the semi-trailer, you know. So you know, you'll get to hear all that bad American trucker country music all the way back from Adelaide to Mildura. And then I'm assuming,
God help me.
Yeah, and then you might be able to shack up there until you get a lift with him to Melbourne on the Friday.
All right.
So
food for thought.
How about I'll send you a phone number tomorrow.
All right.
And they have their own hall. Who says that? Majestic Aquariums. Paul's in the chat. Paul, what are you doing in the chat? Why aren't you putting your 2 cents in? I've asked Paul from Majestic Aquariums I've insinuated in a Facebook post that Paul and Anya from Gallery Aquatica should be on with Mariah, who's opening the aquarium store in Adelaide.
Yeah.
A bit of a celebration of a new store opening, you know, like the new and the old. Sorry, Paul. Anyway, so maybe that'll come up. Anyway, so Next weekend, anybody who's going to be potentially in the Victorian region, there will be the meeting. There's going to be good talk on apparently about cold water fishes, native fish, cold water unheated aquarium. Hopefully not too many galaxias, but anyway, we'll see what happens. And then hopefully a couple of cheery beverages afterwards in a pub close to you. So feel free to join us. Praddy seems to be the mastermind, so hit him up. And there won't be a live stream on the Sunday after that, which is next Sunday, the 2nd. However, on Sunday, the 9th, I've got one that I'm particularly excited about, which is going to be exploring the world of the paludarium, I guess you'd say, which is where I'm combining the aquatic or semi-aquatic reptiles with fish.
Are you going to go down that path with the water dragons?
Correct. And that's what has instigated it. But we're going to explore. I've got 3 guests coming on. I've got an extremely old, well, I haven't seen him in 32 years. But anyway, I've reached out to Andrew 32 years ago. He was the guy that first got me started with my first pink tongue skink and turtles and does reptile display. So he's jumping on. We've got Gabrielle from the chat. She's coming on because she's experienced not only in lots of reptiles, turtles, but also native fish. And I'm still trying to get bloody Dave Wilson from Aqua Green to come on as well because he has done zoos up in Darwin and all the rest of it. So we're going to explore turtles. We're going to explore lizards and also snakes in aquatic fish-orientated displays just to try and make it something different.
Right.
So I reckon that's awesome. Australian. Can't do overseas reptiles.
On that, when you were talking about reptiles and stuff, initially when setting up this tank here, the turtle was in with everybody and it actually bit the tail bit out of the eel. So while the eel was resting, the turtle's come along and taken a chunk out. It has grown back because it didn't go into the flesh. But in that instance, with reptiles crossover with fish, it's can be gnarly.
I think that's why I asked you about your eel in regards to smaller fish. You mentioned guppies and stuff. Talk about tandanas because I honestly feel like there comes a point in time when fish / other animals in general just go, it's not worth my trouble. A lion in Africa is not going to go and chase a guinea fowl. I don't think. They might for shits and giggles, but that's not their prey because it's too much effort. Yeah. It's too hard.
Yeah.
So, Senor Ding Dong says, when are we going to do a saltwater session? Well, Senor Ding Dong, have it be known that I will be touching and pushing the point of a saltwater reptile and fish display in that topic because we do have mangrove snakes. We do have mangrove monitors. We do have rusty monitors. We do have Maclays. So there's certainly some scope to have a estuarine reptile and fish display. So hopefully that will be suffice for the time being. I also want to hit up Thomas Cheer from up at anything quarantine, who does all the tank transfer saltwater fish on the Gold Coast. So hopefully that'll be suffice for you.
That'd be nice.
And CQ Curry says, don't forget frogs. Frogs were the obvious one. I'm going to keep them separate. I don't know frog people because I've never been into keeping frogs. Well, I did once a long time ago. So, definitely. I just thought that might have been a bit too obvious to start with. So I'm going to hold that one slightly separate. Yeah. Any closing thoughts, Tania?
No. I just want to say thanks, everyone, for your little inputs during when I've been in the live chat and advice. And thanks, everyone, for being really nice and helpful to beginners. It's really nice to see.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tania. And everyone out there, thank you very much. If I don't see you next Friday, we'll see you on the 9th of August for a bit of scaly above and below and in between water action. Tania, stay there and I shall end the stream. Thanks, everybody. Good night. And I think that means we're now